Again, I almost don't really care about what happens in this mid one-on-one because I don't think it matters. It's more about, for me, the supports and how they play the map, who makes the better rotations, what Baboka can do to make this bottom lane chaotic, get out of it, and maybe waste the Enchantress's time. We did see PYW have some terrific games yesterday on some of these melee 4 positions. So this is another situation where maybe he can make this early game super fast for LGD. He has an Ion Shell to play behind him as well.
I thought what was pretty interesting about this, despite the fact that these two teams, again, should be looked at as probably the second and third best teams in China, they actually have not played up against each other in the ultimate qualifiers for the year, right? For Riyadh and for TI. Somehow they managed to dodge each other. Riyadh, they both ended up on different sides of the upper bracket and ended up qualifying without having to face up against each other. And TI, well, TI was a bit of a disaster for LGD, and they bombed out rather early. So as a result, these two teams haven't actually played against each other in a bit until their most recent matchup earlier this morning, where they split 1-1, are now in this best-of-3 tiebreaker, again with the loser being eliminated and the winner to play that 4th, 5th place matchup tomorrow.
I mean, one could say they bombed out. I mean, one could also say they ran into Somnus, and you know, there's two sides of the same coin, one might say, but give credit where credit's due. That's all I'm going to say on that one.
All right, I mean, listen, Somnus didn't qualify, so at the end of the day,
I think he got what he wanted done.
You lost to a team that lost to G2.iG.
He got something done, though, in that qualifier.
He did. He
got a lot done. Lane's going pretty well for G2.iG on terms of the core CSing here, but it is that Templar Assassin absolutely free farming down there, so they're just having to pull waves with the double melee. Courier kill will help out a bit too, and it is the Ember suffering in that mid one-on-one vacuum, but it's not too bad for Echo. I mean, I feel like if you can lane with this hero and get XP with a first pick, that's the most you can really hope for, because you know you're going to get counter picks. So LGD, maybe in the realm of expectation here.
And also knowing that just in the near future, you are going to be the one with a lot more power moving around the map and making things happen. G2.iG's lineup is rather slow in that regard, having both a troll and a tinker on the same team.
That's where you have to abuse in this game. Yeah, I mean, if you're LGD, you have to make support rotations, get the Enchantress through the gate, get the double support mid collapse at the 6 and 8 minutes. Look for these types of plays to really snowball this game, get your Ember cooking, and if you can get something like fast Mage Slayer in this game, then you can suddenly start to do a lot of work in the skirmish department because, I mean, Phoenix Nyx are going to be slow. Maybe you steal a Wisdom Rune, maybe you deny it with a creep. These little things could add up and give LGD a nice XP advantage, and that's ultimately what you're looking for here. There is that gate rotation already coming out.
See how effective it is. This is a big wave that's pushing in. X-Nova is going to have to land some pretty good Fire Spirits to slow down the damage here. PYW is actually going to be the first one to die here. Monet's going to follow him, but they got the first blood. G2.iG probably going to trade out 2 for 2. No, X-Nova not quite dying, and it's Why You Smile who may die to the tower. Stays alive just barely thanks to the last bit of wisp healing that he was getting, but Baboka could keep going. I mean, he could pop a Clarity here and keep chasing, hit an Impale, and maybe he gets the job done, and he does.
All right, I mean, 3 for 1? Super happy about that if you're G2.iG.
Yeah, there's your gate rotation.
That was just not executed well enough. They did not toggle the tower aggro. I don't even think Baboka really killed the creep, right? So that's just too over anxious, not playing it patient enough.
And now they're just feeding.
Yeah, that's a really bad death to give away here. This lane just collapsing for LGD. I think they had opportunities to snowball it here, and G2.iG ready for the play. Phoenix can be a hard hero to dive. The Whirling Axes can also give them some missed chance that they benefited from. But still, that's a play where you control how much you're forcing the action, right? So if you feel like it's not going to work and you back off, you're still getting something out of the map here. Feeding 3 kills away. I mean, G2.iG are going to run away with that in terms of the Nyx and Phoenix benefiting a whole lot.
Yeah, faster level 6s for those slow supports can make all the difference in that momentum that you're talking about draft-wise that LGD is trying to claim early.
Got to think about these power runes as well. We're coming up on that 6-minute mark. Would love to get some gank in on this Tinker if you can in the next minute or two here.
Yeah, interesting. The Enchantress spending more time trying to put pressure on the Mars than secure the power runes. PYW, similar battle at the top lane, where he will die to the two supports of G2.iG. Just leaving JT out on an island here, something that G2.iG actually does, I would say, a decent amount. Feel like they're more likely to move their supports around the map together and leave their offlaner alone.
This is just not shaping up to be the early game LGD wanted at all.
No.
They are falling considerably behind in terms of net worth between the support and also just the levels that they need to function here going into the mid game. And it's a lot that's been given over to Monet as well. This troll pick has worked really well to secure the early game here with kind of the greedier support duo. Make up for some of the early fighting power. And we're still looking to pressure bottom with this Enchantress, but this is not really the lane where Y wants to be for maximum impact. Even if you get some tower damage here, you're going to force a Nyx TP. I mean, to me, it's okay, but it's not the same as if you were making this Tinker's life miserable or you were getting those gate rotations to work. In fact, nothing to say is even going to be able to come in here and defend it a bit. Benefit of this Tinker, you can keep these tier 1s alive. If you're not the one getting ganked and taken off the map, then G2.iG are going to be able to fight around these towers, keep their jungle alive, secure extra experience for the supports.
Yeah, the rate this game's going, it looks like Nothing to Say will have his choice of defending all the tier 1 towers. LGD simply have not gotten enough momentum in the laning phase. They're actually down by 2K, and the Enchantress's moves are just being kind of ruined every which way. Whether it's through the gate or it's running into the Nyx Assassin, just can't really put the pressure on the towers.
And it's Echo basically playing alone in this enemy jungle, trying to find some sort of harassment on the Tinker. There's no support around him, though. LGD just super split on the map. In fact, it was New farming bottom on his own. Just nowhere near close to the action. Very split right now, and like you said, it is giving the Tinker a lot of time to just power up here. Already level 8.5, close to that Blink Dagger. In fact, they're going to make the play on the TA.
Got the pin back, very nice, especially with G2.iG moving across like this. They have plenty of little bits of damage to burn through Refraction. A 6th kill for G2.iG.
That's the biggest kill on the map that G2.iG can get.
Yeah.
Didn't even really have to commit a lot. I mean, that was before the support ults come out. So now you have Vendetta to play with. About to have Supernova online. TA's off the map, not clearing through the Ancients. Not getting the solo XP on the lane that LGD wanted him to get. Got to have some response here soon to stabilize this early game. They're going to bring the TA back in bottom, so this is a fight LGD have to commit to here.
Nice God's Rebuke, stopping that charge. So already LGD's little attempt to make a fight happen is ruined.
Big committal of 4 heroes bottom. Defend the TA re-TPing in.
Yeah, when you have a troll who's just carelessly farming away at the safe lane, and you have a Tinker who's able to be there at bottom while also pushing in mid, it's sort of set up for LGD. It's just not good, and it gets worse if New is going to die again here at the top lane. That one final axe doesn't come in from Monet, so New does survive, but in some ways, damage is done. He's going to have to head back to the fountain.
He didn't get any sort of tower push on bottom off of the rotations here for LGDs. So you're just getting rebuked in both lanes. I would not be surprised if Monet starts hitting this top tower. I mean, he got that creep.
He did get that CS.
Messed it up big time. Sends a message.
He's like, you know what, Nyx Assassin, you're not the only one who can one-shot a creep.
Needed something. What he finished? He finished phase boots, so that was a big secure.
Okay.
Give him some benefit of the doubt here.
Sure.
I mean, why? It's just completely in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, what are you doing here? How'd you end up here? What's your story?
This early game is not syncing up for LGD at all. They will find the Nyx, at least Echo getting something done here, but man, support gameplay in this early game, at least for me, has been a little underwhelming for LGD.
Yeah, that's putting it nicely. I think disastrous would be another way to describe it.
Not for Xnova though. He's 4-0-2. Got some earn charges, working towards Vessel. In fact, that Vessel is done for the Phoenix. What on earth? It's insanely fast for a Phoenix that, you know, I mean, in theory, that was supposed to be the lane that was getting pressured, but G2.iG played it well here, and
7 minutes faster than the patch average.
Yeah, that is incredibly fast for support to have a full vessel before 11 minutes.
Boboka's level 6 already, so he's going to set up for a kill on you. It's a good Nyx Assassin game. If you can get out of lanes, he's got Ion Shell, he's got Ember Spirit, Flame Guard. He's got a lot of different ways for Spike Carapace to set up just these free Vendetta hit Impale combos.
And Monet took that top tower, so Darkseer losing his tower. He's supposed to be the lane over here. Instead, it's Monet taking that, opening up some of the Ancients, getting that gank to work for Boboka. And he is just rushing an Aghanim Scepter first on this Troll. For the extra dispels in this game versus the Darkseer, versus the Breaker, versus the Ember. Yeah, it's going to be tough to fight into. Maybe not the fastest farming item. I'm not sure you go at first, even though it's so good here, but it's definitely going to pay off over the course of the whole game.
It is very interesting. I feel like that's almost like it's great for the game, but I also feel like it's part of the covering their greediness of their draft, perhaps. Like if you have a Tinker and a Troll, maybe your Troll should be a little bit more active in his item choices. You know you're probably going to outscale him anyway, so.
Maybe it's just he's relying on this Tinker as the true one.
Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't feel like his farm ramp has to be that insane.
That said, with this kind of lead, I feel like, you know, building the farming item first would have been warranted, but, you know, not going to argue with the team that's leading.
And early
Boboka.
Witchblade for the Tinker.
Yeah, I was looking at his build-up, and I was like, am I miss? I thought I was missing an item. I was like, is he?
I mean, I've mostly seen either like a Shiva's trajectory or a Khanda trajectory, maybe even early BKB if you feel like you need it versus certain heroes. He doesn't necessarily need it in this type of game. Witchblade this fast on the hero, though. Pretty interesting. I mean, the late game Parasma is definitely something you see. And you can get it between that 3rd, 5th item slot on this hero. It's definitely very valuable, but I guess it helps with your farming speed and everything. They're going to try on the Troll. The Ags is being delivered.
So as did he gets it off? Yeah, the vacuum almost caught him, but he's just going to be running down lane to his doom. And nothing to say, tries to cover him a little bit with a March of the Machines. JT comes in, beautiful arena, halting all the momentum. They're chasing after the Tinker. It'll save the Tinker's life, though it might cost Boboka, as there's just too many heroes here from LGD. They brought all 5 up to this top fight for the Troll, and now the Nyx Assassin.
Finally, we see these heroes come together for LGD, and the strength of the synergy there. I mean, the whole time we were talking about this, yeah, you got the Ags up on the Troll, but you also got this Mage Slayer done on the Ember. Your TA is still pretty farmed here. And LGD able to get the collapse, get the numbers advantage. That's where their lineup thrives. Run this Ember in first, get the procs on everybody, let him be the tank on the front line. Yeah, you can Carapace him, you can Dispel him, but he's still going to be fairly tanky at this point in the game until the Tinker's willing to commit into the middle of that skirmish. You don't have the damage to punch through some of the Darkseer auras and the refraction here. This is why I still feel like LGD have an early game advantage that they can put these fights together. It's just a matter of getting the heroes to the right point. As Monet is going to start laying into this tower. Another aggressive objective push by him, especially with no ult. He would love to take him down again here.
They're going to start going on him. Nice God's Rebuke once again. Stop the charge from PYW. They're going to pop the Supernova. So Monet can try to fight around that one, but the egg, it's not dying fast enough for LGD. It's going to successfully explode, and Xnova turns the spirits onto Shiro. Shiro's in trouble, gets pinned up by JT. Now he's dead. This tower is no saving grace for LGD. The Supernova proving to be the superior team fight objective for G2.iG to play around, and it works beautifully. They get the save on Monet and lose nobody for 2 kills.
Man, the mischance synergy in this lineup around the egg it's going to be nasty. Yeah, it's going to force some BKBs out of LGD or something because they have no chance of killing this egg through the Phoenix mischance, the Whirling Axis mischance, the Laser mischance. Someone else is getting stunned in Carapace. There's Arena and Bulwark blocks. I mean,
yeah.
Absolute nightmare to try and kill this egg. And Xnova, he knows it. He's just in the middle of everybody. That was a 5-man Supernova, effectively. The Breaker just dying before it even mattered. And I don't know, that attempt to start the fight from LGD felt a little too casual for me. Like you're just charging this Breaker and he gets stunned and then you don't have any follow-up here. really low resources on the Darkseer as well. I think if that fight starts with everybody being there initially when the Troll's hitting the tower, that can be very good for you. But just a little too slow. Let's G2iG get into position, and they get a really good fight off this Phoenix, who's continuing to just, man, control this game beautifully. Xnova 4-0 and 4. That early Vessel doing some work. Find another quick arena kill on the Breaker. As NTS continuing to power up here. This is not a hero you want to give this sort of pace to.
No. Already breaking 10K net worth so early on into the game. He's going to be getting that fast for Asthma. Took a little pit stop for a 4 staffs just for some extra survivability, so maybe part of that is just the nerf to the defense matrix that happened. Maybe just that extra bit of mobility and survivability is necessary now on Tinker.
It's a lot of extra damage too. It makes up for the changing of the talents on the laser with the 15 and 20. You get some of the amp going through on your targets. Okay, you can buff up a lot of your spell damage sooner than people might expect it here. As we see, it's Burst City. G2iG, any of these single targets they find, you are absolutely gone. You even once the little Satyr creep, you will perish. Pipe dump for the Darkseer. This is a pretty big timing for LGD. Really got to start thinking about some Roshan team fight in the next 5 minutes here. Can't afford to let this game just drag on where all these cores for G2iG are continuing to find their farm, continuing to find their scale, because I don't think ultra late looks that great for you here. This is kind of a tempo-based lineup where you want to get that 30 to 40 minute mark is where you want to hit your stride. So you need to get this first Roshan around that 20 to 25 so you can get the second one and at least threaten some fights into high ground around that period. That would be ideal here with this last pick Templar Assassin. Auras on the Darkseer are going to be your green light to try and get that to work for you. G2iG just continuing to find the pickoffs here. Slowing LGD's game down every time.
Still looking for more too. JT runs into Shiro, but Shiro blinks back before he gets caught. JT's still going to go for it. Blinking forward, hitting the Yules, pin back on the arena. Monet starts going to work. The refraction has been burned through with the Supernova there on the side. It's looking good to get the kill on Shiro, but it is underneath this tier 2 tower. Is Monet going to be fine? Has to pop his ultimate underneath this tier 2. He's going to be stuck here for a bit, but it's healing up okay still, though. He runs back into the wall with the last bit of his ultimate. They have no disables, though, to keep him there.
Man, the lack of AoE control for LGD is really hurting him in these fights. Monet's just able to go in deep because he knows he has the backup of Sunray, Supernova that's unkillable. These defense matrices really helping him out on the tail end of his ult. And LGD just struggling to keep these heroes in the vicinity. I mean, you got a Chains and that's about it.
Popping out, Echo, seeing the Tinker at the bottom lane. They're going to chase whatever heroes they can here at top. It's just going to be a Nyx Assassin pickoff, but something's more than nothing.
You really need this Deso on Shiro as fast as possible right now because that Plasma is done for the Tinker. And you're still, halfway off this big Roshan killer for LGD's carry.
Yeah, if you're not careful, it's going to be G2iG who are going to take the first Roshan really soon.
I mean, they could do it now if they are confident enough to force the 5-on-5. I don't think they necessarily are, but they could definitely contest as well if they really feel it comes to it.
Yeah.
Again, the confidence in these Supernovas going off has to be pretty high, especially with double Eul Scepter coming out as well between the Nyx and the Mars. Very easy setup now on this Ember at any point. 2 more Dispels for the Surge, for the random Ion Shells, for the Spear Breaker as well going in.
His Tinker has 19 armor. They get on top of him. It is not an easy kill. With Defense Matrix.
Plus 4 staff.
And 4 staff.
Plus Translocator.
He's got over 2,000 HP. His effective HP against physical damage is extremely high. He's got 55% physical resistance.
He took the Defense Matrix talents as well. So I don't think you would have done this when that laser talent was better, but
yeah,
because they got swapped and nerfed. Yeah, it makes some sense here. I mean, these are 445 damage Defense Matrix absorptions. Those are no joke when you're throwing 4, 5, 6 out in a fight. And you're looking at the damage from LGD, where's it going to come from? I mean, you might get that huge vac charge slight through. That's one way you can get it going, but otherwise it's the Templar Assassin who has to get in there and start hitting people. And again, there's so many So many dispels, so many disjoints, and so many mischance procs. Like, you already need MKB on this TA or something. BKB, the ability to man up here.
Yeah, you need BKB to deal with all of the instances of damage that are just ruining your fraction. You need Deso for just straight up damage, and you need MKB. And feels like you need all of them like really soon.
You need this Roshan, and they were not confident enough to man up for it here. They're all TPing it away.
I mean, even if oh, he got him blind. Beautiful. Saw that LGD was TPing away from this Roshan pit. I was going to say, even without a pickoff here, without a TP cancel, they could probably just do Roshan because they know that LGD TP'd away. They get a pick like that on YU Smile. It makes it even easier for Monet.
Yo, what was that? Back ban this man. What the heck was that?
I thought you were talking about vacuum. I was like, I didn't see a vacuum.
No, don't ban the vacuum. Vac ban this man. Too good. This is not a road you want to give up if you're LGD. They've just missed a lot of their timings in this first 20 minutes here. They're going to have to try and recover this game off of some good team fight execution with the Darkseer combination. I think that's what it's going to have to come down to here.
Yeah. But we've seen how hard it is for them to get a good charge against this Mars. I mean, JT, whether it's Gonter Bukes or it's going to be Arenas, the charges are near non-existent in team fights.
And the problem is you're not going to get some crazy pick-off with the Spear Breaker this game because it's just Tinker shoving out the waves while the rest of the team can play together.
Yeah.
So you are really constricted to that 5-on-5 comeback. And that's where, I mean, this Tinker and Nyx are going to thrive because they got through this early game. Now they're powering up and they're ready to get aggressive.
Not quite enough. And now stuck inside the arena. Boboka hits a nice two-man stud off of that one. LGD just going to try and bide out their time as the Supernova explodes.
Did tank through it.
They did. They didn't get the pick-off they were hoping to on the Nyx Assassin. But maybe they'll get it on the Phoenix. Okay, big burst damage. PYW charging through a couple heroes here as well. Monet has to pop his Manta and start backing up. Now, he still has the Aegis. LGD can't go full aggro here. But they can maybe look for more opportunities.
Still a solid fight for them. Showing the strength of the Darkseer auras here. Very tanky unless that Tinker's willing to commit in during that arena. I mean, you get the Mage Slayer hit through, you get a pipe on everybody. There's a Greaves to back up some of the armor hits, Refraction to burn through, Ember Shield to burn through. If you're not getting early dispels on these heroes, they are fairly tanky for what you're presenting right now. Now, Ags on NTS is going to be a big damage power spike. Start throwing those lasers out with the, you know, the extra bounce, the extra 10% shrink ray. It's a lot different.
Especially if they're going to be grouped up inside of an arena or something.
A little lag here.
Yeah, a little Kale. Yules into Spear
is guaranteed.
And then you hit him with the Plasma and laser him. Is all of that going to end up being enough damage to burst the Ember?
Oh, with the Nyx coming in, yes.
Yeah, Boboka's definitely close enough. So, unless they fumble this, we should be witnessing the demise of the Ember. Chaining it up. Pretty easy. Now, they might get caught, though. Vacuum back in with the charge. This is a trade-off that LGD would certainly take, especially if they can get even more. A Tinker for an Ember Spirit when Tinker is the most farmed hero on the map and the Ember is the least farmed core. That's a happy trade. Then they got a Nyx Assassin, just the cherry on top.
And all of that gold going to Shiro here, the exact hero they would want to grab those kills. Deso charges for the TA, almost 2,000 gold, half of which is going into his pocket. I mean, his BKB's just basically done off that.
Yeah, we said he needed 3 items. He almost has 2 of them.
This Aegis period not going as well for G2.iG as I think it should have, considering they had Tinker to push the waves and they could have just grouped up. An aggressive gank does not work for them, and you're closing in on BKB for the Spear Breaker as well. Another big item. Guarantee that charge through cannot be interrupted in this game. This is still a scary 5-man lineup from LGD. Even if you have a lot of scaling on the side of G2.iG, you can't give them these sort of openings in the fights because they just run you down. And it happens very fast. It's defense. We've seen how strong Darkseer has been over the course of this play-in. They're going to hit a pretty decent BKB timing here. I think the Spearbreaker, Ember, and TA are all going to sync it up.
Yule's big counter to the Spearbreaker. And instead of the Spearbreaker finding pickoff on G2.iG, it's G2.iG finding the pickoff on him.
They're even going for BKB on the Enchantress here. They're going to have 4 of them in this game.
Okay.
This is the weakness of the G2.iG draft. Like, you have a lot of mischance, you have a lot of Yules and little control spells, but none of them go through that debuff immunity. So it lets you man up, kill the egg, play around your auras, and focus down a big core target, and then get that sort of advantage going into the fight. If the fight goes very long, I mean, of course, you're going to favor the Tinker and the Nyx here, but that initial charge-in burst, jump from the TA, everybody BKBs, that's kind of scary for G2.iG here.
Aren't they still going to have a troll problem, though? Like, okay, get all the BKBs you want against Tinker, but what about the troll? He doesn't care about BKB.
I mean, they do have some kiting ability for him. Like, Enchantress isn't the easiest target. You can surge someone away. The charge can hit the troll. You have to burn through Refraction. I mean, in theory, yeah, but I also feel like Troll is not a hero that just auto-carries games. We've seen a lot go wrong for this hero in a lot of fights where you need it to go right sometimes.
Sure. Not the most reliable carry, I'll give you that.
Nonetheless, level 20 just hit for NTS here on the Tinker. That did not slow him down too much, so he will also take the Defense Matrix Resistance talent. So these used to be laser talents, now it's Defense Matrix getting boosted up. Of course, has the Ags, so Shrink Ray online. Parasma there to buff it up as well, and he's cooking. Ready to rumble.
Well, we're probably going to be sitting in a little bit of dead zone here where both teams going to be happy to farm up because the aggression should come with the second Roshan timing in 2.5 minutes.
And they will have all their BKBs for that fight. Embers is done, TAs is done, Spearbreakers is done, and the Enchantress might not be done, but that's probably the least relevant here.
Yeah.
So that's going to be the big question mark. Can G2.iG deal with this BKB timing from LGD, and how much do LGD get out of this period? Because, yeah, they're down 10K, but this team fight does not look impossible at all. Charge through, going to hit the Phoenix only before the Yules comes out.
Got a silence on the Phoenix. Gets a dive, interrupted by the Nether Strike, and Shiro blows him up. Now, big stun out from this Nyx Assassin, hits Shiro and Yu, and LGD very cautious. Despite getting a pickoff on a big teamfight support like Phoenix, they don't keep it going. They actually just back off, respecting the fact that Tinker was set up, ready to go with March and the Machines.
Yeah, maybe not a position they want to chase into when they'd have to commit all their BKBs on the edge of that fight, and you're not guaranteed to latch anybody there.
Yeah.
Double damage will be picked up for Shiro, though, and I mean, Hurricane Pike, Quiver, level 20, all online for this Templar Assassin, hitting a really nice damage power spike here. I mean, this is where you would love if, you know, Roshan were up and you could claim it on that upper side of the map. It'd already be done here. Instead, you're going to have to settle for some creep waves and getting some map control. Really deep ward put out mid by YU Smile, and he has another obs as well he can place up top here. So this is going to be some nice vision for LGD to play around. In fact, he gets the base ward. These are very deep ops. I mean, normally, if you were in a winning position, these would be amazing. The fact you're down 10K and you have Tinker who can push these waves, though, I am curious how well LGD are going to be able to use these very deep observer wards. Like, how much information is it even going to give you here when G2.iG have not really been playing on their side of the map too much?
Yeah, no. I mean,
so, heavy investment.
Maybe they're just really banking on being able to find that, like, one Tinker pickoff, you know?
I mean, these wards will protect a dire Roshan, but it was Radiant Roshan that got slain earlier as well.
Yeah.
So they're not guaranteed to give you value for that objective fight either here. As we see, 3 wards all in the top part of the map for LGD. They have really committed.
Go back for Gleipnir for Echo. Some additional control would be quite welcome.
So LGD know everybody's down here because those wards see nothing. They're going to make the smoke through the gate, and it is...
They're going to be running into some heroes.
Yeah, this is a weird positioning. Yeah, they're just going to bail. Interesting maneuver from LGD. A little unsure of what they want to do there. They smoked people up, sent half through the gate. Didn't like it, TP'd out. G2.iG didn't like it anymore, though. They bailed as well, waiting for the BKB on their cores.
Sent Baboka scuttling out of there.
I mean, we can see why they bailed, because BKB just finished for the Troll, and it just finished for the Tinker. So now they are way more confident with their Roshan fight here. All three cores have theirs online to match LGD. LGD did not get that fight with the BKB advantage they wanted in this game. And now they're going to get caught in the jungle. Shrink them down.
One at a time. Yeah, he's got so many of those nature's attendants from his facet choice.
Man, LGD have struggled to control this Roshan this game. It really shows, like, where the vision is, the fact it's Radiant side.
I mean, isn't
None
that
of
just
it's really done them favors?
Isn't that just kind of natural? The course of like not winning the early game against Tinker means he pushes in all the lanes, and therefore you lose control of the corners of the map. Also, the strength of this G2.iG lineup, when they can set up kind of a static defense, it's pretty obnoxious to run into. Yeah.
Again, the Whirling Axes, the Arena, the Supernova, you're giving Nyx as well the type of fight he wants, where maybe he can be behind the initial fight breakout and then just play with multiple Carapaces, multiple Eul Scepters, Impales, whatever it is. Look for the Ember on the backside, draw that fight out, trade BKBs here. You know, if you're G2.iG and you just trade all your BKBs and NTS can come in for that second round, you have to be confident in that type of fight. So again, the onus is on LGD to get something done in that initial clash. NKB finished for the TA. We talked about the big items here for Shiro. He's gotten them all now.
Now it's just about finding the right initiation. That's being ruined by JT up on the high ground. JT ruins his own initiation, missing the spear. They commit for him, go for him. Shiro can't quite finish him up, but off the high ground, JT stuck on the low ground. He will die. Gets off the arena with the Supernova, though. They can protect that egg.
Shiro in trouble.
And Shiro is in big-time trouble. Stuck fighting up against both Monet and Nothing to Say with no backup whatsoever. A spike carapace managed to land on Echo. Now Monet is on top of the Ember Spirit as well. Got the ensnare necessary to get the kill. They look for more. PYW hit by yet another Eul Scepter. It just does not stop for this poor cow. He just keeps on getting tornadoed through the air. 3 down on the side of LGD. G2.iG will claim the second Roshan.
A deep committal there by Shiro to try and finish off that Mars, and it does not work out as he just ends up being straight on top of Monet, and that is not a favorable fight for him, even with MKB. We're going to see a Hurricane Pike later to try and save him, but I think this initial go is pretty good for LGD. Like, you get the BKB out of the Tinker near the start, which isn't too bad, but you split your focus. The Vac and the Ember are on the low ground where the TA is on the high ground, and he has to Hurricane Pike himself on the backside of an arena. Can't afford to split the focus here if you're LGD, because again, so much of your damage is on that Templar Assassin. You have to play around where Shiro goes and back him up. And it's going to be a costly team fight loss for LGD as G2.iG take full advantage of it. Will take a Roshan, put it on their Troll, and let him go to work here. Did cost JT a buyback, but one they're happy to spend here, as I mean, you do not need Mars to do much of the heavy lifting when it comes to the late game.
Yeah, and that's my problem here, is that yes, JT was an opportunity, but I think it's simply not a kill you could devote many resources to.
No, he's just not that big of a target.
If you're talking about killing the Phoenix, maybe. If you're getting a jump on a Tinker, absolutely. If you're jumping Monet, maybe. I mean, that's a hard kill to get. I'm not sure if you have enough control to stop him from ulting, but, you know.
I'd still be happier jumping Monet and getting a BKB or an ult out from him than I would jumping the Mars and getting a BKB out of Mars. Like,
yeah.
I feel like then you can commit to that second half of the fight with yours and maybe win that exchange, or, you know, maybe Shiro can outlast some of that Troll if he's getting low. Too many targets for LGD to focus, not enough damage to spread around. 15k gold lead now for G2.iG as they claim a little bottom barracks and starting to build that lead. And they have also built up double A on this between the supports. So we're talking about who are you trying to jump here if you're LGD. G2.iG are giving you no good targets.
Well, took half a lane at bottom. Now it's time to march down top. 3 minutes left on the Aegis. LGD will have a small window of time here to talk about how they want to take this next fight, how they're going to defend the high ground, if it's going to be maybe taking a fight outside of the base to try and catch G2.iG unaware. They do have this high ground ward that looks like they want to try and playing around. There is a successful scan from G2.iG, so they may even know that LGD is looking for a fight right here.
There's no way you want to fight this Aegis right now. It is way too hard. Between Aegis, double A on this, these defense matrices. So difficult to find anybody to focus down.
I mean, you don't want to, but you're gonna have to, right?
Yeah, well, I mean,
if you don't fight outside your base, they're coming to your base.
Shiro, my man.
That was a close call.
What are you doing?
JT almost got him. Ogre Seal Totem over the cliff to
it.
still catch him. Oh, missed the spear there.
Dude, how
Shiro
is he
really
not
does not want to use the BKB, but he may be forced into it. Oh, what a vacuum! Wait a minute, LGD hit a really nice 3-man vacuum wall. They still can't really get aggressive with it. At best, it looks like a Nyx assassin kill and a retreat. Nothing to say, back up to the high ground. He is stuck in the wall. They still have vision of him. Monet! He is holding on to his ultimate as he still has his Aegis, but this is a really awkward fight. Echo is going to keep it going. Echo is going to get a slight on something here, slow down this retreat, and maybe get another opening on G2.iG.
That's
another kill opportunity, a vacuum back onto JT with a charge on through. Monet has to pop his ultimate. PYW managed to help get the kill and get out. They just aren't losing any heroes on the side of LGD. They're kiting this out beautifully. Even the Enchantress is surviving through this one.
Still a BKB
Second life on the troll. Monet's back into play. Shiro is ready to go. Now they're ready to dive in. Echo not getting ensnared. Fortunate for him, he will stay alive. Somehow LGD keep everybody up in just a fantastic team fight that seemed impossible to make happen.
I mean, give it to you. That back wall was absolutely nasty at that ramp choke point, and it seemed like after that, G2.iG didn't know if they wanted to fight or not. Do you commit after that? Do you not commit? Your Aeon just get popped on Nyx. He's gone. There's an awkward place to Supernova. And a lot of that also came down to Shiro, the patience from this man to not use BKB early on in that fight. It's almost like JT didn't know what was going on. Like, I'm just poking you. Why are you not respecting the poke here? Why have you not popped this BKB? That Spear Arena missed. Shiro, one might say balls of steel here, and it rewards him the entire fight. He holds it to the second life of the troll. And that's where I'm telling you, Troll is not a carry who can reliably carry some of these late game fights. You know, you have to lay all this damage into an Enchantress. Got stuck on Why You Smile, not the target he wanted there. Beautiful kiting from LGD, and it wins them a fight that looked unwinnable here. Still down 6k gold after all that, but they got the dieback on the Mars. They recovered a gem off him as well. And yeah, you keep your Tinker in a solid position, but it's now TA at the top of the charts with Swift Blink coming in and almost level 25 of her own here.
That'll be an interesting one. Do you think you get the bash in this situation? Just, they don't have the best control.
I think these talents are closer in value than they ever have been.
Yes, I think so too.
There's definitely games where this meld bash might be good, but I think you're probably still leaning towards refraction instances. I mean, just having the extra damage is nice and all. See what he opts for here.
Even Shiro taking some time to think about it.
He does take it. I think it's just too reliable. Like,
yeah.
Maybe the upside of this bash is higher in some games, but refraction is always going to give you value because it's always active. Yeah, and that's hard to turn down.
Some of these fights, you're getting 2 or 3 off.
By the way, the 5th BKB for LGD has been completed on this Darkseer, so they have all 5 online. Midas on the Spearbreaker to help him scale as well. Extra experience. He's already level 20. More damage barrier off the Bulldoze. These heroes are tanking up. It's a lot of HP for this Tinker to cut through. He is TPing right into the mid.
Yeah, they almost got him. In fact, they did catch him on a Gleipnir.
That's not the target they want to start on, though.
Yeah, he does have BKB after all.
He got
Pinned back on these chances, but
three.
another great vacuum wall combination here. Makes the fight messy. They still have this Sunray, though. And they're going to play around that as much as possible. Supernova is ready to go as well. If Xnova wants to try and pop this on the high ground, LGD do not push it. They are very disciplined. They do not really overextend too much.
They got a lot out of G2.iG there, though. Tinker BKB is always nice. BKB on the Mars and the Aeon Disc on the Phoenix. They traded their own BKBs on the Breaker and the Ember there, but that's kind of it. I mean, Enchantress won whatever here, but they held the TAs. So you still have the 7-second BKB on Shiro, and these are important. You need as much time during these durations as you can get in this game. Got to start looking towards the next Roshan here. It is going to be another Radiant side spawn. So far, they've all gone G2.iG's way.
Satanic for Monet, Shivas for the Ember. So that'll help them a lot more when it comes to vision of these crazy fights that are happening. A lot more survivability against the Troll. But the Roshan, if it's a fast Roshan, that little clash that just happened might have been very good for LGD with certain things like the Aeon Disc still being on cooldown, but it's a bit longer one. Minute and a half until Roshan. So any of the damage done in that previous fight, any of the cooldowns, they'll all be back up in time.
G2.iG, they're going to camp it here. Confident they can win the defensive Roche fight. And so far, they've been right about that, but this is one LGD are going to contest. There's no way you give this up without an attempt here, especially when you have double Observer Ward on Why You Smile. This Enchantress, one of the supports that can run in aggressively and place those on the high ground. It's going to put one down here. He has one more to place. Try and see something for the Breaker and the Darkseer to go and start the fight. Shiro's going to play defensive, try and hold his go for last. He's just going to find the Tinker.
BKB immediately goes off.
Oh, that
and Supernova on the side. They can't deal with the egg. They all retreat. They get out clean, too.
Dodge them.
Really,
Stun.
Nothing getting going on to LGD whatsoever. So, yeah, wall for Supernova, but I feel like LGD, at least initially, happy with the way that goes.
They used, I mean, what did they use? They used double BKB on the side of LGD, but they did get the egg. I mean, can you push now with no egg? Oh, almost caught that Tinker.
I don't think there was any follow-up to it, but
that impale was sick from Laboga, though. He caught 3 there from the tree line. Props where props are due, but not enough to clinch the fight. And Roche is up, so G2.iG are just going to commit right now because they do not want to wait for this egg cooldown. And it's going to be wide charging in.
He's trying to get a bit of the vision of the incoming heroes. Nothing to say, he pops out while they try and cover the ground. A vacuum back in wall. Out of the pit they go. PYW charging in onto the Nyx Assassin. They're going to try and blow him up, but Shiro gets hit by the spike carapace. Roshan is dropping lower and lower. Monet might make the commitment for it soon. In fact, yeah, with his BKB, they're just going to commit to trying to get the Aegis now, and that's going to be free for him. LGD playing backwards, trying to retreat. Nothing to say. On the jump forward with Baboka. 2-man stun onto New, and YU Smile sets them up nicely for some cleanup here as G2.iG. A couple heroes get low, but nobody quite dies, and they'll continue to get the pickoffs. Not even you, who was caught in that spike carapace earlier. He won't escape as JT hunts him down. Double kill for nothing to say. G2.iG continue to win the defensive Roshan fights.
Just can't find a target to stick on. As NTS, he was on the front line. BKB TP'd out in front of them there. Can't get the charge through, can't get anything on this BKB Lincoln's defense matrix Tinker. And the second he comes back into that fight on top of that Nyx, there's too much firepower for LGD to deal with. Really having issues locking anybody down.
Now they're getting picked apart here. PYW trying to do a bit of lane shenanigans, but
ooh, look at this, he went Strength Blade. Yeah. Bringing back the older Tinker meta here. As Amp Damage Rune for Monet is going to clear a way through this high ground. Banner will guarantee it. do have some buybacks here on LGD if they want to try and take a fight with the Enchantress respawn.
Guess it depends on how aggressive G2.iG is going to be. If Monet keeps going for tier 4s, they might just be able to force out the buybacks from LGD. Nothing to say. Waddling back here. The charge through. PYW stops it to be able to try and stop the Tinker, but the Lincolns blocks the Nether Strike. If only the charge had put him in a position to collide into the Tinker, then it would have been fine, but he was too far to the left. He can't charge the Tinker, he's got to charge somebody else and just hope that it sort of all lines up. Somehow the Troll just gets popped like that. A lot of damage coming out from Shiro, a second life of course. And so LGD continue with their defensive play style. Seen the fight around this area before.
Got to be careful in these windows if you're G2.iG. I mean, that was a fight you didn't have the BKB up on the Tinker. Now, it is a very fast cooldown, but...
See PYW outside of the base. They'll punish him for it.
Still alive.
Not for long. And now a dieback. 2 minutes and a 4 versus 5 for LGD.
Another banner.
Nothing to say, just keeps on blinking into them fearlessly. Pin onto Shiro, the perfect target for JT to end the game with. Without Shiro, it's all over for LGD, and YU Smile will be the one to call it.
All right, those fights were very close to swinging either way, but it felt like what really won G2.iG that game is just the first 15 minutes there. You can see if LGD had pulled ahead better in that early game, if they can contest those Roshans, or if they're the ones doing Roshan and forcing G2.iG to go into them, that's a very different setup. But when G2.iG are ahead out of that first...
It's getting a little late into the night, but I feel like it's still a little early for fairy tales. But thank you, Brian. I'm looking forward to seeing what actually happens in Game 2 of LGD versus G2.iG. Avery?
I mean, that man just predicted a 6-minute mid-Mars gank. I don't know if that's going to happen, but if it does, I'll eat my hat, I guess.
I mean, Neil did say, I want delusional.
You did
it really didn't
delusional.
Get much more delusional than that.
That does sound pretty delusional here. I don't know the last time I've seen that happen in a pro. I mean, I feel like I actually do. It was probably Mind Control Slardar. Was the last time I saw that.
Yeah.
And
don't think you want to imitate that.
No, I don't know if it worked out well for him, but it was pretty cool. Nonetheless, that mid matchup could be a problem for the Shadow Fiend. I think we've seen NTS win this matchup a little bit as well, just player on player, and they did get the carry swap to deal with the offlaner swap. So both teams trying to figure out their lane and core on core matchups here, put themselves in a better scaling position. I felt like that Mars was coming out though after you saw the gyro, because yeah, we saw Xiaowei cooking there, and he does not want to just throw this Enigma in a position where the lane's going to be rough, and then the in-game might not be that reliable with, you know, this Pango late game, getting Ags Basher or something. You have hook shot coming through as well. Not the easiest game to just rely on BKB Black Hole. So if your lane's not good and your scaling's not good, puts this Enigma in an awkward position. Will end up being the Weaver for Monet. And a hero that can excel versus the Ursa for sure. Kind of depends on who's ahead. If the Ursa's getting more Roshans in this game, I could see Shiro run away with it with a fast basher of his own. But that kind of requires momentum off the Roshan, and we did not see LGD capitalize on that too much last game.
Yeah. For me, the way I looked at it is they really doubled down on making the Ursa's game as hard as possible. Having to play a matchup against both Weaver and Wind Ranger, I don't know. It seems kind of ruined. But the upside being that for LGD, you have a 4-position Baboka gyrocopter, which that just coming out of my mouth sounds terrible.
Why? Because it's Baboka or because it's a gyrocopter?
Kind of both. I don't know if I believe in the support gyrocopter right now, but Baboka I feel like has always been best on these like melee 4 positions. You know what I mean?
I feel like that is what he's known for, yeah. But he plays a lot of different stuff. He's been around for a long time. He's a shot caller. He's willing to take out, you know, the awkward swap pick to make the rest of the team function. I think he can do okay here, and I think this support matchup is completely fine for him. There's not going to be really any pressure going into JT when you can automatically threaten the Eidolons every time. I think the biggest question in this game to me This is a game that revolves a lot around this mid matchup and the carry matchup for me. Which carry is going to be able to ramp up faster and have a bigger impact around Roshan and in the team fights, and which mid is going to be able to maybe get some of the runes, snowball a bit. Does NTS just shut down this SF in a true one-on-one fashion? I think both these support duos are, you know, a little slow, a little clunky. They want a lot of levels. They want to get their ultimates up to be able to get the initiation online. You want the Blink Dagger for the Tiny. You want the Hook Shock for the Clockwork. You're kind of waiting a little bit to see what happens here. Not a lot of mid-roam potential either. I think maybe you can get the Tiny in there and look for a toss, but are you really going to be able to toss and kill this Wind Ranger? It seems like a tough ask. So you're really looking at the core matchups, just getting the early farm and looking to scale here.
Quick note on the gyrocopter. Boboka has played it 4 times in his career and has only managed to win 1 of those games.
Well, that's not very good.
Like what we were saying, the stats back it up in that it's not really in his wheelhouse. He doesn't play it very often, but I can respect the sacrificial play to be able to give his cores better matchups if that's what they desired out of this.
I mean, stats do lie sometimes, though.
Nobody said they didn't.
Ooh, Monet.
Yeah, in a bit of trouble. Caught as he tries to Shikuchi up, and they hit with an avalanche toss combination that ruins all of his Shikuchi timing. Still able to walk away, put some damage done, and perhaps setting up potential for a kill later on at the lane. His first blood is still available.
I feel like G2.iG are pretty happy here with their early setup on the lanes and how they're going. You're getting some idle on clear top, so Boboka's getting a little extra net worth there, and all 3 of your cores are pretty much free farming here. Even this Pango finding a lot. Just getting the early stat items up. They're going to contest the 4-minute water rune as well. If you could deny that out from Echo, would help NTS a lot. But Boboka's not going to be able to get to the bottom one here as the lane shove from the Shadow Fiend too strong on this mid lane. NTS struggling a little bit in this matchup to control the regen. Boots early for Echo also helps him land the raises here, so doing a nice job in this one-on-one.
And it's kind of interesting. I wonder if that Boots is a step against the Wind Ranger, you know, passive that they were talking about, right? If you can't normally just land those stacking slows because the Wind Ranger's minimum movement speed that she has all the time, then the Boots help you land that triple raise combo.
Definitely letting him get more raises in and just win the regen battle. They are looking for that tiny roam, which is the one roam that I think can go into mid here. But again, it's pretty hard to land.
Showing up now, hits him on the avalanche, right on the edge, but couldn't get the 3rd raise to secure the kill. So PYW is going to be chased away. Shackle shot doesn't quite land.
Just a really tough attempt.
Yeah.
How are the Wind Rangers in this matchup? Just very difficult to gank, and you weren't doing it right at that nighttime either, so he still had the better vision on you there. That's a nighttime gank and that wave is in the river, it probably goes your way. It's a little off the mark here for LGD, but Boka's going to swing back in mid. They actually land a shackle to set up the barrage.
Echo trying to keep him back with the raises, keeps Wind Ranger at bay, goes for the kill. Boboka gets the first blood with a TP rotation for BYW, who tries to hit a toss blood grenade to get the kill. Not quite good enough there, but Echo is strong enough to get first blood.
I mean, I guess the stats don't lie. The Boboka gyrocopter not working out here in the early laning phase, at least. He feeds a freebie.
Might have misread his strength in that situation a little bit.
Overestimated the barrage a bit, or maybe just how high resources this SF was, especially with early raindrop and wand. And he'll secure an illusion rune for his troubles. So taking almost a level advantage now over this Wind Ranger. Mid lane going very well for LGD. As NTS just falling behind. Failed gank, missing some regen, getting pressured off the roam.
It's a good thing for LGD just because their side lanes, they're doing all right, but the difference between Mew and JT is pretty large. The off lane for G2.iG going much better.
Just a product of this Enigma not being able to pressure the lane or play up against the Pango, and they're going to try and pressure the Ursa before the level 6.
Boboka coming in from behind, a lot of flat cannon shots. Echo is here though. He's going to try and, okay, never mind, cancels the Requiem, sees that it's not really going to be that effective. They got the clockwork, and now the Requiem goes off and it barely lands in time before the TP is complete. He'll get the Boboka kill as well. 2 supports die on the side of G2.iG. LGD continuing their perfect runs so far in this game too.
Why is Panel hating on this man's SF? Taking some names right now.
Well, they did say he went from 11K to 13K in 24 hours.
That's true. I mean, the only correct thing they said was the delusional part, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Not going to like me for that comment, but...
It's okay. They don't like you anyway.
Oh, thank you, Austin. Appreciate the honesty, at least. G2.iG not liking what's happening on this mid, I'll tell you that much.
No.
This is not what they had in mind with this matchup, and especially for NTS, who, you know, he popped off in that Tinker game, really showed the power of himself on a signature hero and what he can do for this team. And right now, it's all Echo on that mid, looking for the 8-minute power rune. That'd be a big win for him. The first one was an illusion, so you know this second power rune, probably something pretty juicy here.
1 raise, 2 raise.
Wow, worth. Like, I mean, give him the 8-minute rune, right? He deserves it at this point.
Seriously. And he will get it.
Well, that was the weakest of, I think, what he wanted there, but you know, he'll take it. He'll take it.
I mean, we'll see. Maybe in 40 seconds time, he's got Requiem back up. Maybe he can get a sneaky, like, TP one of the side lanes, run down the lane with invisibility and get a one-shot kill there.
Yeah, they did see it on this Radiant Obs, so G2.iG have the information if they can play around it. Continuing the trend, though, here of a very even laning phase overall will be YU Smile going into the jungle with the Enigma, as we see Shiro just left alone up here. So if G2.iG can get a roam into this Ursa and pressure him, this is a weak point right now for LGD, but Y is hanging around, and he is already level 6 on this Enigma. Pretty dang high level. In fact, he's just higher level than his carry. Not really sure how that happened, but I'm sure Y is quite happy about it.
But Boca's looking at that number with envy. I'm only level 4.
They'll give him the solo mid XP.
Xnova's only level 4 too. They steal Wisdom Rune? What happened?
No, Wisdom Runes got traded.
Mew. Little long setup here for Xnova, but he gets the catch onto the Mars to set up JT's rotation. Actually managed to get off the arena into the black hole on 3. Is this going to be good? Echo's going to be able to hit the double race to finish off Monet. Now nothing to say, though. Countering the rotation from Echo is going to try and force him to use the Requiem. The stuns will run out, and he'll successfully get off the Requiem of Souls to push back G2.iG. And he will survive at the end of the day. Trading out Mars for Weaver and a lot of spell cooldown. Seems okay. Xnova, he'll walk out of the cogs. He's fine. Fine and free.
A little bottle refill off the Mars. So still a successful fight for LGD. An early black hole. Getting some mega value here. Landed it on 3, getting the Weaver kill. More gold into the Shadow Fiend's pocket. And it will be a Kaya already done. Very fast timing here. Level 9 as well. So you already have all these max raises up. Ready to party here with the magic damage. Haste rune for NTS, though. That'll be a very strong rune to fight around here. If G2.iG want to bring more reinforcements mid, this catapult's already doing some damage with double ranged hero. Where's the defense?
Well, Echo's going to come in. He'll clear out the smaller creeps. The siege wagon, though.
Yeah, it did some damage.
Yeah, it did.
No last hit on the catapult either. Mental damage.
JT still hanging out in this bottom lane as Monet is the one to move around. So I actually gave the Pango this lane after he TP'd in with that Rolling Thunder play from earlier. At least Boboka to solo top, so he can finally get some experience to get him to level 6.
I don't know, it feels like G2.iG have kind of fought in the wrong area though, right?
Yeah.
You gave a lot of free farm time to this Ursa with solo XP, who's kind of in a weak position because the Enigma went to the jungle, and you didn't get any sort of punish up here. It was all fighting into the Mars bottom, which is what I think LGD would have wanted here. And now all of a sudden you have an SF and an Ursa as the top 2 net worth, and they didn't really have to fight for it on this safe lane. Ganks just didn't come through and didn't work out. They'll re-rotate the Pango up top, but I mean, at this point, he's going to get to a decent Battle Fury timing here, even if maybe Shiro goes down once or something. You're happy with what he's gotten out of this early game for sure. Tower still up. Your Enigma can help you defend this area. And at this point, if G2.iG want to try and force the fight into the Ursa under this tower, I think LGD would take that. Black hole coming back up. Gonna get aggressive, look for the arena. It's pretty close, but not close enough. Shiro did not want to stay up top, so do what he can down here. Get a glyph for his trouble.
And this tower's very healthy, though. G2.iG could decide to defend it and play here again, or Monet just takes a trade-off here. They're going to go for the dive onto YU Smile. TP rotations, they're actually going to try and defend their 5 position and defend their tower. Just the rotations themselves are enough to scare back G2.iG. Monet's like, okay, guess I'm going through the gate again.
Beetle gold versus Eidolon gold here. The real victors.
Xnova does get off the cogs before he can be caught in an arena situation. Monet coming in for a bit of punish, nothing major, just a bit of damage on Shiro to try and kick him out of lane. Nothing to say, also TP'd for that, so.
Yeah, he has an amp damage rune as well. That was not a poke you wanted to commit to if you were LGD, wisely backed off, but this will probably be the death of this offlane tower.
Yeah, you could use focus fire on it if he really wants to force it.
Man, both teams are really just committing to these side lane tier 1s. Neither wants to give up the safe lane tower for their carry. But it'll be LGD, I think, who win this overall objective trade.
Why do you think they are so fixated on keeping their own safe lane towers alive?
I don't think either team has a great way to brute force it if it stays up past the early game, and it is nice to keep these towers alive for the 2 carries if they don't want to go into the triangle early, which neither really does. You can make an argument Ursa's fine abandoning this tower more than the Weaver, but the Weaver is kind of a fighting carry, so if you keep that tower up and you can keep fighting around him as G2.iG, I think you're happy.
Shiro finally forced off of his tower, and as that tower falls, gets ganked. Gets back to the tier 2, doesn't get off his enrage though. Got hit by the shackle before anything could happen there. Beautiful avalanche from behind though, setting up the races to get the kill on the gyrocopter. Now G2.iG on the run into the corner of the map. LGD can catch something here. Oh, miss spear. Can nothing to say, get away off of that miss spear. Xnova just diving in. Oh, black hole. Okay, YU Smile will stop that TP, and they will collect 3 kills for Echo. Man, he is racking it up this game.
Wicked sick. Man is having a game right here. 7-0. He's got 6 bonus necromastery too. He is snowballing out of control. Who's gonna stop this man?
Right now, it seems like G2.iG just too weak for the task. Trying way too hard to be able to get the kill on Shiro. And yeah, they got it, but having to dive in that close to the tier 2 tower. LGD respond accordingly.
Just ended up running it in an awkward direction too. I mean, there's no arena here. The catch was actually pretty limited. But it took them a while to get in positions where they're confident to TP out. And this is the second black hole by Y that has netted some big kills for them. It's definitely put this Enigma to good use, at least in the early game. One could say this gyrocopter did not get the lane punish they were looking for. And he's looking at an Orchid. There's a greedy pickup for this gyro. It's going to be a long time in the works.
Yeah, when you could just go some utility, Glimmer Cape Force Staff or something, try and help out against the Mars, Tiny, and Ursa. JT has to use the Rolling Thunder and TP out, as LGD were planning his demise.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
The LGD are sweeping. They are looking for kills. The SF is very strong, and he only needs one of the 2 between Mars and the Tiny to hit some sort of stun to kind of guarantee it. YU Smile going to be chased down the top lane, sticking around, trying to push out a lane. Gets punished for it, trying to go for that extra efficiency. Meanwhile, they'll finally catch up to Xnova, who's trying to secure the power rune.
Another necromastery charge. Up to 27 here. Level 13 on this SF. It's a big boy.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
I mean, if LGD just keep trading out kills on the map, they're definitely going to be happy here because this Ursa is starting to power up. And he will out-farm Monet in terms of being able to clear through the Ancients faster. At some point, you're going to go into that Roshan. You can put an Aegis on this Shadow Fiend even, let the Ursa continue to farm, and then you're in a pretty happy position for the next 10 or 15 minutes here.
They've also got the big combo online.
is under
Arena
attack.
into Blink, Kaya, Yasha, Requiem. So he's going to be able to fear everybody into the arena walls for some extra bit of damage. Also keeps them close for easy raise stacks.
Feels like LGD are favored right now if the fight opens up, especially with Blink arriving on the Tiny. I mean, they just have everything their lineup needs.
Yeah, how could it not open up for LGD between the heroes and the Blink daggers? It just feels like it's going to be so easy for LGD to take a fight.
3 already online here by the 17.5-minute mark. They're going to smoke towards mid. Look for the toss back on anybody they can find. Toss into the Requiem will guarantee a kill on any target. I'm going to bring the Enigma into this play. They have one observer on the Tiny. See how deep they want to place this ward. All right, they'll get it behind the tier 1. Not too bad.
Yeah.
Probably find Baboka here.
They will for sure. Toss him onto the Requiem.
Another stack. I mean, this is getting to the point where these extra Necromasteries are significant.
Dire's
Yeah.
bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's
I
middle
mean, if he
tower is
actually
under
gets to
attack.
his Ags with all these extra Necromastery stacks, yeah, it starts going past significant and into overwhelming.
9-0. This is the dream when you pick this hero right here. And it was a very early pick, and now they get that Roshan just easy. We'll put the Aegis on the Ursa.
Dire's bottom tower is
I
under
almost
attack.
wanted to put it on the SF to protect his
I
Necromastery
agree.
stacks.
I think you give it to Echo here, but can't blame him. I mean, Ursa does this for himself. There's an argument to be spit out. Okay, you put the Aegis on the Ursa, he can just go in the fight, and the SF can wait for his moment.
Yeah, I guess we'll just see how they play it.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
G2iG trying to farm up for something here, looking for the Gleipnir on the Weaver, the BKB on the Wind Ranger. But there's nothing crazy in terms of switching that team fight presence over to their favor. Just going to be more damage coming in. Hope they can get to a threshold where, okay, you get the BKB on the Wind Ranger, maybe you can run in BKB focus fire this SF down, and there's not a clear response. But you do have Black Hole, you do have like Toss Save or some Bulwark.
Radiant's top
Arena
tower is falling.
might screw up the rest of G2iG engaging. It's not a super clear, just I get to run this guy down for free scenario.
Arcane power.
Now, I am impressed with how much farm JT has gotten in this game. Like the fact he's leading the cores on the side of G2iG says something about how good his early game was on this Pangolier. And they need it right now. All 3 core scaling is going to help them with confidence going into this mid game where they did not win the early Roshan. Move for this mid tier 1. Would really like to get a fight out of this more than just the tower.
And Shiro jumps in with his Aegis. Taking a quick pick off on X-Nova, also securing Echo. The haste rune in his bottle.
That's a nice one.
Middle tower is falling.
So even more mobility and initiation available for LGD. I mean, at this point, I'm looking at Baboka, thinking maybe he has the right idea. Just farm, farm, farm. Hope for the best.
Dire are scanning.
Spoken back to that ward they had down earlier. They know somebody's probably up here.
Yeah, playing
looking
for the Wisdom
21
Rune.
minute.
Monet, he's going to be the one to break the smoke. They got a toss back, though. On the gyrocopter, don't have to blow Requiem for it. It's a freebie.
Get
Can
all the
they
beetles as well.
Still get the Wisdom Rune? Seems like it.
I mean, X-Nova got hooked for it, but not going to be worth it in the end. And they're going to get the free Tormentor. Easy for the Ursa to bring down here. Getting a lot of value out of this Aegis period for sure. Experience advantage, gold advantage, objective advantage. Can't ask for much more.
Advantage, advantage.
Gonna look towards Monet mid. It's a hard grab.
I accept this offer.
Dire are scanning.
When does G2iG
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
start feeling confident about their own abilities to fight?
I mean, when this Aegis goes down, it's gonna help. They're gonna try and make a small move here. For the Mars has BKB.
Yeah, push them around a little bit inside of those cogs, see if they can get the extra burn. Good
Yeah.
pick off.
Why just abandon? I mean, he's looking for a black hole there, but it's not worth it. Just feed 2 instead of 1. Take the loss and move on. Nice little pickup for G2.iG. Again, this Pangolier is still incredibly strong. Harpoon already done. He's just scaling. This is not your shield crash tank Pango. This is a Pango gearing up for the late game. A lot of extra stats, a lot of extra right-click damage.
Radiant's
Going to
bottom
continue to
tower
farm pretty
is under
fast here.
attack.
And we'll definitely look for that Basher at some point. Very good Basher Abyssal game for the Pangolier here. If you get to something like the Manta into Basher into Ags could be pretty nasty here versus the Enigma Black Hole versus an SF and an Ursa who don't like getting interrupted when they go into that fight. So quick smoke here from LGD trying to regain some momentum in this game and some map control.
Yeah, saying you had your fun with the Mars pickoff. We're not going to let that continue to happen.
Not even going to show everybody on that initial jump. 2 still smoked here as they're racing top.
Going for this kill on you. They might be able to get it, but they are so heavily committed here. Requiem goes out. The Mars dies. Nothing to say. There is no cancel to his BKB TP out. So I guess they can make that kind of commitment if YU Smile can't get there with the black hole.
Yeah, no blink on this Enigma. So yeah, if you can space the gap, you're pretty confident on those sorts of dives. But it is a BKB down for the Wind Ranger, so you have to be careful about these. Ideally, you want to use these BKBs to get the SF kills if you can. Like, that's why you pick this matchup. That's what you want out of it.
Yeah.
And you're happy to get a core kill for sure. Just got to keep that in mind. You're looking for 1 or 2 deaths on this Shadow Fiend at some point in this game to really kill his momentum and turn this game around. Only down 7K. And you're looking towards your own BKBs in terms of BKB for the Weaver is a pretty big deal here. BKB is done for the Ursa, and the Mars one is coming around pretty fast here. So everybody just gearing up for the fights.
Well, he's got Ags on Echo. Your Wombo combo on LGD is very scary. G2.iG are going to have to be really clutch on their BKB usage.
I don't know what this Orchid on this Gyro, man. This is sus to me, but
Yeah, well, okay, what would you prefer? Because I feel like Gyrocopter is always kind of a weird support where there isn't the most natural items to build.
I feel like Drums was good this game if you wanted an intermediary item.
Okay.
But I think what he's doing with this Orchid is, I don't think you were ever really going to get interaction with the Ursa. I mean, it is good versus Ursa, but it's not going to be directly useful here. It's okay versus SF, Tiny, and Enigma in terms of interrupts, right? If Tiny blinks in and you can Orchid him, can be very good. If you can Orchid a black hole and cancel it, it can be very good.
They knew Monet was going to clear out that and go to the neutrals, and they set up perfectly for him.
Okay, he's trying to get out though.
Oh, he doesn't make it.
This is the kill they want.
I mean, this was such a valuable trade-off. Echo getting punished on what I thought was a really sick setup by them, but seems like G2.iG just had enough heroes in the neighborhood.
Man, that's so sad. He had so many Necromastery stacks.
Yeah.
It was up to 33. This will reset him back down. I was feeling for him, man. He was up to, you know, some serious extra damage there. Playing a little mini RPG game of his own. But he met the final boss, which is eventually this Focus Fire. And there's just nothing you can do.
Do wonder if he's actually going to go Refresher. I imagine that depth should lead you to a BKB.
The BKB still doesn't save you from that Focus Fire, though.
It doesn't save you from Focus Fire, but it certainly helps you live a lot longer. Maybe long enough that you know, can wait out the Wind Ranger's BKB. I mean, you're still going to be shrugging off all the, like, Maelstrom damage, for example. Straight up, Black Hole on, nothing to say, but he had a BKB as soon as the Black Hole is down. He's walking away. No, he gets bashed. Oh, Shiro. He had the bash lined up for nothing to say and was able to track him down before Windrun could come back up.
It's a big chase, because otherwise that exchange is just awful for LGD.
Yeah.
And we see the genius, the Orchid, with the instant Black Hole cancel. But Voka making it work here. I mean, the advantage of this build-up is the cast range on the Orchid's pretty significant. The item I was going to suggest, though, is Yules, because I think Yules fulfills some of the same idea, but is also just very good versus the Ursa as the game progresses. Makes it work. I don't know about this Bloodthorn, though. This is this is too much for me, man. I don't know about first item Bloodthorn on a support gyro.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
I mean, the damage ramp's insane with Wind Ranger Weaver going in with all these hits.
Yeah, it's like, you know, Weaver and Wind Ranger want a Bloodthorn. They're not going to build it themselves, so Baboka rolls up its sleeves, levels up Flat Cannon, and says, fine, I'll get it done myself.
I mean, you gotta respect the Giga Chadness, for lack of a better word here. Part of me says this is absolutely insane, but part of me says it might just win them the game. So who am I to argue with it? Smoke from LGD coming in.
Gets spotted. Walking down the clip a little bit. And some of that spoiled. Mew tries to go for the initiation, but LGD, they whiffed it. And G2.iG will be able to respond in kind. Should be able to chase down one. No, PYW, there's no Suns there. He actually just TPs out, so it's Mew who will die from JT's relentless rolling thunder. Just keeps on bonking him over and over again. So that is not an insignificant kill. That kill was worth almost 1,000 gold and begins to seriously cut down LGD's net worth lead.
BKB Mars initiation. There's just no clear targets. You still have this Aegis on the Weaver, Cheese on the Wind Ranger now. Everybody's pretty tanky. You kind of have to catch somebody before they BKB so the SF can commit in. And I mean, yeah, 20 minutes faster, sure. You got the record, my man. We'll give it to you. I don't think anybody was chasing you for it, but you got it.
Well, I mean, it just can't be that bad. That's for sure. The upside is extremely high.
It is.
And the downside is, well,
also
it forces
pretty high.
BKB.
No, the downside's still pretty high. You're missing, you know, 7K net worth in utility. That's a 4-staff. That's a Yules. That's potentially an item that saves your core when he gets jumped by Bash or
do your
Ursa.
cores need that mobility? It's Weaver, Wind Ranger. They'll just, you know, stay ahead of the Ursa naturally through spells.
Look, if he can land this to cancel Black Hole or he can land it to find the Shadow Fiend, it will pay off. That's what you're looking for here. High risk, high reward. Baboka living life on the edge.
I mean, it's also going to be quick reactions. That SF doesn't have BKB, and he's looking to blink Requiem. Baboka might be able to stop him before he gets off the Requiem, and that would be sick.
Yeah, for sure. That's
or
the biggest
he gets
upside.
off Requiem anyway, and he dies with a Bloodthorn in his hands.
That is the downside. Requiem and Arena are pretty decent zoning tools here. Might not have a good opportunity to run in and orc at somebody to save that fight. Aegis still up for 2 minutes here.
Dire's middle tower.
G2.iG haven't really made a move to try and use it. Did finish up the Assault Kuros on the Pangolier. So once more, JT is finding a lot of farm priority in this game and scaling like a beast.
Can you get enough net worth to be able to challenge the Ursa without an Ags Basher build?
I mean,
Right? He's going like
there.
a right-click build. It's
Yeah,
really interesting.
I don't know what this man fight will look like, but I don't think LG are going to expect it. Oh, what a sick setup.
That is beautiful. Gets a fast kill on the Weaver, taken away. The Aegis tried to go for a black hole on JT, but JT landed on him and canceled that black hole. JT's Rolling Thunder still disrupting some of the backline. Meanwhile, the SF is in trouble, caught on the cause, and he's just dead. Bloodthorn by Baboka, who's still alive, still kicking it with nothing to say, trying to chase down these heroes. They head up to the high ground. LGD almost posing like maybe they could think and turn around. G2.iG are a little bit low on some heroes here.
Sick
But in
grab
the
by
end, both
X-Nova.
back out.
Finds SF on the backside, just sets all of that up. Baboka walks in and says, welcome to Bloodthorn Gyrocopter. He didn't expect it, but you should have. He does have a Yules here.
He can get the toss back to the neutrals. And then Malefice after that.
He's gone.
That's good enough. Wow.
Really
Great
nice
pickup.
catch.
It's okay, the true carries here with the Bloodthorn. Oh! Goddamn. What are these blind stuns that keep on happening from PYW and Baboka, man. They're killing it in this series.
I mean, the tips are going out, and well-deserved. I mean, PYW, he had a quiet early game this game, but if you're looking at this net worth chart, he's overtaken the Mars. He has gotten a lot of farm in this game, 135 CS. He's got your triple utility item you're looking for on this hero, where you just become a catch machine, really hard to go on, insanely tanky. He's a problem for the Wind Ranger and the Weaver post BKB.
Radiant's bottom tower.
I mean, Baboka thinks he's playing the carry in this game. That's all I'll tell you.
I mean, it looks like you know, beta 4 position, only utility items meet versus Chad 4, who goes straight carry item. But BYW's getting better distance with it, that's right. He's getting that catch on the Wind Ranger, plus the kill on Baboka himself. Big swing back into LGD's favor. That leads them up to a 6,000 net worth lead after the Tormentor taken. Gets a shard for the Mars.
Not a bad one here. And that'll finish up the Abyssal for the Ursa. So, yeah, this Ursa is still scary. Shiro having a tremendous game here, 8-1. Pretty much fully kitted with what you want. He's only missing that level 25 talent in the shard. That'll really push him to that ultra late game position where he's just a monster in the fight. And if he ever latches onto this Weaver or this Wind Ranger off another stun, let's say you manage to land a spear on any of these cores, they're going to get chain stun and they're going to get killed. There is no save, there is no interrupt there. You do not have the Wind Waker gyrocopter like you might have this Wind Waker Tiny at some point.
Yeah.
Because he's looking to slay as well. But yeah, that Wind Waker for PYW is not too far away. And he is so rich. Crazy how much he's gotten out of the map. He's already almost level 20.
It's funny how he's on the team with the Enigma, and he's the one building Wind Waker, not G2.iG.
I mean, Wind Waker is a very nice item for G2.iG at some point in this game, but yeah,
100%.
they're just not going to have it on anybody. That's where I was saying that Yule's build up, it sets you up for that type of thing. And LGD still have a lot of scale to cook with here. They're looking for the refresher on the SF. I think it's completed. You can still get BKB later. You can still get Blink BKB on this Enigma if you really want to continue to push it late. That Wind Waker finished for the Tiny. So big items coming in for LGD right now. Offensive and defensive capability.
Man, Echo just really likes this build, huh? I surely thought that after that first death, he would think back to the BKB and then getting caught underneath the tier 2. Still, what about BKB? Could that have changed the fight? Even if you still die, would you at least get off Requiem? Big offensive potential from the refresher. The big jump, X-Nova able to get away with the jetpack. They actually toss Shiro onto the little clockwork and do finish him off, but he has to use the range now. His BKB a little nice awkward time. He turns back around to kill the Wind Ranger with the black hole. Beautifully set up. Why you smile? That's a team fight ender right there. Just casually walks in for a 3-man black hole on 2 cores. JT can't even get away.
Beautiful arena there by New. Got everything they wanted off that OBS plant. And all that's just set up by PYW. No answer in this game from this Tiny going in and doing everything right now for LGD. You don't want to commit spells or items on him. You want to save him for the cores, but meanwhile, he is just setting every kill up on a platter for Shiro and Echo to collect and Mew. Arena just does the rest. They're going to get a lane of racks here for sure. Unfortunately, there's still tier 2 tower standing for LGD on the side lane, so don't think they can get much more here. But of course, that Roshan,
yeah,
I would have said it's going into their hands, but Monet is trying to solo it right now. This is not even close.
Yeah.
Yeah, he needs the gyrocopter Bloodthorn to make this play work.
And they're going to go into the pit and be like,
it's a little low, guys.
Who's doing Roshan? That's weird. Oh, hey, the Weaver's nearby.
There's a bug to help him out. I mean, can you stall this if you're G2.iG? They're trying to get here, man.
They are very desperate to try and stall it. It's just not going to work.
Yeah, it's not even close. They know there's no black hole, though. They're going to try to take the fight.
They really are. The Wind Ranger just went through like that. Are you insane? Nothing to say?
Instant Hex. No BKB for him, not expecting it.
And he's just on catch duty. They've already won the fight, so get whatever else you can. And in this case, it's going to be Boboka. Once again, the arena. Monet, this time, the core of G2.iG gets off the BKB before the pin happens. Nothing to say. Two very awkward deaths. I mean, the one that happened in that mid-team fight, he got pinned despite having BKB up. And now this time around, just desperate to interrupt Roshan, TPs, goes through the gate and just instantly dies.
That was a Hex that just got delivered from you, so they did have this Radiant Observer. Maybe just clicked him, didn't see it, not expecting that insta-cast, but
I mean, even there. Without that, right? He would still be...
That's a weird play.
Let's say he pops BKB win run, but he's surrounded by 5 heroes.
Yeah, I don't know what's resulting in that in terms of positivity for G2.iG here. And the Tiny, man, this Tiny is out of control. He's just going to assault Kuros. He's done messing around. This is going to be an item that says good luck to doing anything to me. Like, you're going to need Focus Fire to bring this support down, and at that point, you're screwed.
Well, then you're going to need another core. That's what Boboka is trying to ramp up to. Nullifier now. Meanwhile, I'm still very curious about JT's build here.
Yeah, it's not felt amazing in these fights. It feels like you would have been better off with like Ag's Basher build here, but maybe they just haven't gotten the exact setup they wanted. I mean, the biggest components just felt like the Wind Ranger can't commit into the fight, find the SF, and bring a target down like that. Every fight starting with the Tiny or the Ursa jumping people, and they're not heroes. It feels as though G2.iG have the tools to commit on. That's a big problem. Maybe they need a Hex of their own or something. I mean, Bloodthorn Nullifier on the Gyro is something you can just throw on this Tiny when he goes in and allow you to commit on him, because then all of a sudden he can't Yules, he can't Force Staff, can't do anything to reset that situation. Okay, I mean, gives you an opening. But then you're still worried about clumping on this target relative to the black hole, relative to the arena coming through. So a lot of counter initiation in this lineup for LGD. And they are feeling very comfortable with an Aegis and a Cheese on their two frontline cores. Fully in control of these fights right now. And that Ursa, he got to that level 25 talent. He got to the Shard as an Ag's eaten off that Roshan. So he is just absolutely massive at this point. Has all the damage and all the survivability in the world. It's just a matter of locking heroes down for this Ursa to chow on him.
And LGD, with that kind of security of Aegis and Cheese, show the Ursa bottom lane and then just run around with 3 other heroes looking for kills. Have gained 10,000 net worth from this Aegis pickup. It's just LGD. Not so much just about the Aegis, more so just them hitting their stride and being so much stronger than G2.iG. They're able to take objectives and kills at their leisure. Another 70 seconds left to go high ground if they want. Nullifier for the Pango. Does that change anything? I just don't think it does. Not with the BKBs available. I mean, maybe in the right circumstance, you slow down the Ursa, but take away some of that overpower that he's so reliant on, but he has BKB.
You have to bait out the BKB and then find this Bloodthorn Nullifier combination. That's what you're looking for here. This would be a wasted arena. Not what New was looking for.
Kind of zones him back, I guess, to be able to take the building. JT takes the opportunity for a jump. Hitting up heroes. Echo comes in with his first Requiem, blowing up the clockwork. Meanwhile, the black hole again. Why you smile? He just keeps on landing these. They throw out another Requiem to hit the Wind Ranger, finish him off, and even send JT packing. Buybacks, though, coming out. And LGD trying to escape. Won't be able to make it far. They're going to be caught. They have to fight this one. The Ursa's being kited around, trying to to go for the kill.
Aegis
Big
in 5
smash there from the
seconds.
God's Rebuke. The Aegis is going down soon, and they're trying to know. He finished him
3
off.
seconds.
They actually killed them. They could have just waited 2 more seconds, and they would have been fine. Now the Ursa's coming back into play, and he's just going to tear up this fight. They have no more buybacks left on the side of G2.iG. They've used their last one
That's it.
on Monet, and it's just nothing left for G2.iG. We are going to a game 3 in this tiebreaker, the 5th game of today between LGD and G2.iG to determine who is going to be eliminated from Riyadh Masters and who is going to be staying alive.
Just too evenly matched. Neither team, can anybody have predicted that at the start of the day? Probably not. This is a spicy one. A spicy mid matchup indeed. Not an easy one for him. He's going to have to pull out all the stops to get through this laning phase in a solid position. I mean, maybe that's the story for LGD across the board here. All 3 lanes, I agree, look potentially difficult. I think Morta can free farm here, but your other 2 look pretty unfavorable, and the supports from G2.iG can play pretty fast this game. So if they start to snowball off the lanes, and they can really easily make rotations and just catapult themselves into a very strong mid-game ball. This lineup really reminds me of something, you know, we would have seen Gaming Gladiators play last year.
Yeah.
Where you have the Underlord to give you the auras, and you have some safe lane that's very explosive, very dominant, that can just push you into such a large advantage early, you can't recover if you're LGD here. Whereas the scale for LGD, yeah, it's there. It's scary. They have a support duo that's terrifying to play a late game into, with a bunch of BKB Pearson safe from the Shadow Demon, and then a Tiny back on PYW that we saw just tear open that game 2. I'm surprised G2.iG gave it to LGD again. That was the one hero I was looking at. Like, I'm not going to give this team Tiny again. So that's the one thing I do like for LGD here. They got that hero again. They got it on PYW. He had a tremendous game on it in that game 2. He's going to look to do the similar things here in game 3.
We're talking about the comparison to Gaming Gladiators with this Underlord. I mean, we saw the Underlord put to use in this tournament with an aggressive lineup. The global capability of the game just adds so much that I'm very worried about LGD getting run over. But we'll see. Maybe PYW's Tiny will be good enough to halt some of that aggression. Or maybe we'll just see them outplay their way to win the lanes. Mid matchup is certainly not you. I mean, you're talking about like what not to expect. Like mid, Echo, Earth Spirit. I also wasn't expecting an Earth Spirit Snapfire matchup perhaps at all this tournament. But it's been cropping up here or there, at least the Snapfire mid, like Noob specifically, been playing it a few times. You think
Scaling's back for the hero. I mean, that's the biggest part. Like, dealing physical through this Shredder, it's a lot of damage. Even in the laning phase, NTS is just spamming it off cooldown. We're going to see some lane pulling shenanigans from this double melee lane. Kind of expected here. You don't want to play this lane straight up. So, correct play here from LGD. No way you're just going in a 2v2 and expecting to win it there. At least get something out of these shenanigans that make it a bit chaotic. You can maybe even look for some backstab mid with this Tiny around the level 2 or 3. NTS is susceptible. You have a lot of nuke damage that come out.
That'll ensure the kill on Boboka. So Shiro picks up the first blood. Good start for LGD.
This is the one lane I think they can win here with the double ranged heroes. This Morta is a powerful laner still. Gotta respect the early nukes that can come out, and the amount of slow and disable. Cannot trade in that calling. It's pretty deadly for any melee offlaner. This is also an unconventional carry. There's not a lot of teams that are still playing this carry. Morta, Shiro is comfortable on it, and we've seen LGD go back to it time and time again. But I feel like more often than not, it doesn't hit for them on the level they want it to. So, curious to see if it performs a bit better here than in some of the previous matches I've seen for them. This hero can be incredibly powerful in these late game situations, especially versus lineups that try and reduce your damage output with things like an Underlord, attack speed slows from the Crystal Maiden. Morta sometimes just punches through all of that and does not care. It could be a cool pick down the stretch.
Yeah.
So far though, CS going G2.iG's way here as, yeah, NTS is winning that mid, and that Gyro is absolutely free farming what you would come to expect here. I mean, these are strong cores to contest the core matchups in CS. Maybe you get a kill on that Underlord, but he's still just sitting there with Atrophy Aura and a bunch of extra bonus damage.
Yeah, you basically needed the first blood just to try and keep up net worth with all of the lanes from G2.iG. Could be like that Ember versus Tinker matchup, though, where we'll see how the Earth Spirit, once he's able to get level 6, if he's able to have an influence on the side lanes that is greater than what the Snapfire can accomplish.
That's the big question. Do you try and rotate into mid for this Earth Spirit with the Tiny? You can't really chip NTS on this Snapfire, so it looks unrealistic, but you don't really want to sit top here as PYW either because there's nothing to accomplish in this lane.
Yeah.
You can stack, but those stacks are susceptible to potentially getting invaded on. The moves for this Tiny in the early game are not really clear. The most reliable move is probably to this bottom lane because you have kill threat with the Muerta and toss back into the Callings guaranteed. Just let Echo trade out the water runes here and get what he can. I guess you could double rotate. I mean, you could bring the Tiny and the Earth Spirit to the same lane here if you're LGD and maybe look for a cheeky kill or two. But otherwise, it's just going to be straight lane domination for G2.iG. And the longer these lanes stay like this, the happier they're going to be because they're zoning the Beastmaster. The Earth Spirit's not getting a lot mid, and JT is free farming. So all three of these cores are continuing to just power through this laning phase right now. And if you're not going to make rotations to upset this equilibrium, then you better be stacking the heck out of your triangle.
That's what I was just looking for. I was like, okay, how many stacks are available? And the Beastmaster has only stacked for himself this one Ancient Camp one time. He's going to go for it a third time here, but I mean, that is one way to recover off of a really rough lane like this. Just, you would hope you would have more than just the boar stacking going on, like PYW could do a little bit.
Looking for the gank mid.
Might be able to get it. Kick back into PYW, Avalanche in a position to get a toss deeper into the tower. Now the creeps are dead, the tower aggro switched over to nothing to say, but it's not good enough for the two supports. They just burst down the Tiny and they get out of the tower range. A roll in from Echo lands on Baboka this time around. Why you smile? Shadow Demon, not the best hero to take advantage of this positioning. May just limp along and die underneath this tower. Pops a Fairy Fire, can't stay alive, can't get the kill on Baboka either. Echoes has to just roll out of his own lane to stay alive. 3 versus 3, that goes terribly for LGD, and nothing to say. A bit of a reach here, trying to go for blind kisses. Snagged one of them, but ultimately will miss out on the third kill in this mid lane. Echo being hunted down so aggressively, had to TP back to Fountain. Man, just can't catch a break anywhere, man.
And that shot felt a little slow, but lucky to get out of there, honestly. There's a decent chance he died on that ward. As, Echo just getting hounded in this laning phase. The roam is coming into him. Or at least I should say the counter gank. NTS way too tanky there. Levels are not there. You don't have the magnetize up yet. That's your real kill threat in this early game. And this is the problem with this kind of idea here from LGD is if you want to make up for the weaker lanes with the stacking on the triangle, you're not going to have the levels on the Beastmaster to do these stacks early, which means G2.iG have a huge window here to push the towers aggressively and invade the jungle. And they're doing exactly that, looking for the 7-minute Wisdom Rune. They're going to scout out the stacks. If you get some deep vision here and you bring numbers, I'm bringing NTS to this part of the map right now. I'm contesting this Wisdom Rune. I'm backstabbing the tower. I'm taking the fight to LGD.
Oh, he gets tossed back into tier 2. So X-Nova's going to die off of this one. Will he get the Wisdom Rune as well? G2.iG, they're actually going to fight for this one. Monet's going to drop his ultimate. They go for the Wisdom Rune. They go for the kill on the Tiny, and they do manage to get it. New is also going to just die here in this AoE. The Muerta ultimate, the calling is still going on around that area. They do manage to get those 2 kills. Why You Smile did snatch away the Wisdom Rune on the other side of the map, so at least LGD were able to even some things out there. But G2.iG winning the lanes and then using that position to just bully LGD even further.
So overall exchange, LGD get both Wisdom Runes, but at a heavy price there, giving up big core kills. The Beastmaster continues to get shut down, and Monet got the last hit on the tower. The catapult was hitting that tier 1 top the whole time, so he just gets out of there, gets the last hit, and is now top of the board. This Beastmaster is having a rough one here. He cannot afford to lose much more space. You're looking at a tier 1 mid, which, I mean, who's defending this right now? In fact, G2.iG are just going to potentially bypass it and look towards the triangle again. They want the power rune. Will not go into the hands of that Snapfire.
And with this offlane tower being gone so early. They make this rotation through the triangle, and Monet is able to help them out. An area that would usually be protected. Monet is able to kind of invade, put some more pressure there, see if they can find a kill with the kisses. They're going to get it on you. Wait, disruption buys him a little bit of time. There's still going to be a kiss or two that lands on him, and that is enough to finish him off. Monet, though, hit by the avalanche, couldn't complete the TP. Now he's going to tick out. Echo with the hit-and-run maneuver that nets him 2 kills and get away.
That is a very valuable haste rune. Lost the 50-50 there between him and NTS for G2.iG, and they pay a big price for it. Echo able to come in, get some earn charges, get the big gyrocopter kill. It's worth a lot. I mean, you got to look at the vision right now. These 3 observers for G2.iG are just doing so much work. Letting them play behind these towers, contest the stacks, set these fights up beautifully, continue to play around that area where the tower went down, but not able to secure the teamfight win into stealing those ancient stacks. And that is going to mean recovery farm for the Beastmaster if he can continue to sit there for the next minute here. Necessary for New in this game.
Yeah, I mean, they put so many defensive wards on the side of LGD for a similar contest. They know how important it is to get this Beastmaster his recovery farm.
A little bit of the fight going LG's way, but they're still at a pretty big early game deficit, and we're continuing to see the evasion, the pressure escalating here for G2.iG. They don't want to let these ancients be freely farmed and let that recovery go their way. Up 3 to 4K at this 10-minute mark is significant. You can continue to put the pressure on this tier 1 mid, especially with free little shredders by NTS. I mean, the biggest maybe dissuader is just the roll-in from the Earth Spirit kicking you back with a Magnetize. I guess that makes the tier 1 mid siege a little spooky.
Yeah, you combine that with a tiny toss back or even just a combo.
But the long-range poke catches PYW from this tree line. Nice little backstab, and Monet's going to come in here to try and ramp up the pressure and secure this. G2.iG playing pretty fast.
Yeah, I like the way that Monet is using this gyrocopter to be aggressive, take towers, try and, even if it hasn't always worked, like the team fight to try and take those ancients, like the upside is very high if it does work.
They're going to find you on the back end of that camp, so he secures the stacks, but he will lose his life to a quick ult from NTS. I mean, you gain 1 and you fall back down 2 steps here.
Yeah.
This part of the map has just been owned by G2.iG from, it feels like minute 6 or 7. Outside of that 1 haste rune that Echo got off the 50-50, nothing on this top half of the map has gone their way. And there's some stacks they'll steal. Vessel done for the Earth Spirit, so his damage is online. Really have to find a good fight here with this magnetized Vessel for Echo. Not only for the supports to get some extra experience, but to slow down the pace here from G2.iG. But Monet, he's lingering around this river.
Disruption, no roll-in. They're going to wait till they reveal some more heroes now to get the roll-in. Straightens on the Snapfire, a beautiful Magnetize. Play it slow, and this fight could be very good for LGD. A turnaround from JT, locking in the Muerta. They're going to go for that kill. They do manage to get it. Echoes is still stacking up this Magnetize. JT is going to try and make an early escape. Has to cancel it as he's the roll-in from Echo. Gets more Magnetize. A crash landing. Big damage. Will that finish off any of these heroes? An Avalanche will get the Crystal Maiden. And Monet, he does not get remagnetized. Echo, I think he might just be running out of boulders. Yeah, he's all out. He used them all in that last fight to get a team fight that actually goes the way of LGD. Even if they lose their Muerta, it was worth a lot for Echo.
I mean, it's all Echo in this fight. 3,000 damage, 9 stones expended, triple Vessel charge. He'll refresh the Vessel here, get an amp damage rune. Very nice one on this hero. Gotta remember, this hero does a significant amount of right-click damage over the course of a fight like that as well, and his ult's gonna be back up in 40 seconds here, so pretty good pace from this mid lane pick. That, yeah, he's down some net worth, the lane was unfavorable, but he's a team fight beast right now, and you're looking at a hero with one of the largest strength gains in Dota 2 going up against the lineup with a bunch of flat spell damage. Not an easy target for G2.iG to commit on here.
I was gonna, you know, leading up to that, I was gonna say that Echo and PYW are going to have to do so much heavy lifting in this fight, because frankly, they have a Shadow Demon. This hero, that's a hero that just really cannot help you that much when it comes to bursting down the Snapfire or Gyrocopter. It really did have to just be Earth Spirit and Tiny the whole way. And they did exactly what was asked of them.
He got a really nice lead in. That Magnetize basically instantly got procced on everybody there.
Yeah.
And I think Monet being in that fight, I mean, it salvages it a bit for G2.iG. He's very strong. He's going to run it back mid. They're still in a solid position. I mean, that's the crazy part. Even after that fight, they're still the top 3 cores here, still looking for the tower backstab.
Yeah, still able to dive towers and get picks.
It's another pretty good ult in, but
the
they burst
Link,
it.
he's stuck inside the colleague. He can't use his ultimate. He's just stuck there. Damage finally goes out. The Kiss does reach
that
the
ult.
Shadowed Demon, and it kills them where it's up before the TP can go through. G2iG, they might have hit a little bit of a speed bump that they know they are cruising right now. They just know they're stronger and are going to keep forcing fights against LGD.
At that time, the roll in Magnetize does not work out for Echo. He does not have the tiny backup. The Shadow Demon's forced out of the fight early, so there's no save available, and he just walks right into the burst damage from this gyrocopter. We're going to see it here. He's gone in a second. Single frostbite, and you're done. That is where you wish you had that blade mail. At least you could reflect some of it back, but the second he's gone, this fight's over for LGD, and Kisses are going to claim 2 on the backside. That is a nasty spell for the Muerta to run into early here.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point of your LGD, you have to kind of reset here. I was going to say you have to look for this blink on PYW, but he has it. Honestly, not bad timing at all for Arcane Blink Tiny in a game where he's 1 in 4 and you're losing your towers. Once more, finding some solid farm, and this is going to open up the fights more for them because now you don't have to commit the Earth Spirit straight into that magic burst damage. You can look for the tiny toss back or at least bail the Earth Spirit out when he goes in with some follow-up. But still, you're really looking for that blade mail. You're looking for recovery farm on this Beastmaster. Slow this game down a little bit if you're LGD. You're going to be happy. Which begs the question, where do you go to pick up the pace here if you're G2iG? I don't think the early Roshan is too formidable, so you're probably looking at pushing in at least one of these side lanes and connecting with a smoke gank to defend your towers here, especially if LGD push that top tier 1. You are going to take that fight. You should take that fight. You have Underlord who can connect with early mech as well to any of these plays you want to make. So either you're smoking the triangle or you're letting LGD push that top tier 1 and getting the counterplay. But I think one of those 2 plays looks pretty juicy here for G2iG with the Underlord connection.
Seems the counterplay is the move for now, where they're going to try and set up around Monet as he pushes into a tier 2 tower, looking deep into the jungle for the Muerta. Not going to find her, though. She's already made her way to the other side of the map, farming Ancients.
Not the part of the map I think LGD would have been in. I mean, you're pretty much looking at these 2 Ancient camps. That's what they're going to be.
Yeah.
This will secure that tier 2, though. Glyph expended. If G2iG just want to man up with everybody here, can take it down pretty fast with some Shredder.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
No, they'll just back up.
Well, they might need to save JT here. They are in pretty far. This tier 1 tower is still up if they wanted to play for it. Mech will keep JT alive just a little bit longer, but he doesn't even bother to pop it. He's just, they really gave up on him there. Wow.
I don't like that sequence from G2iG. It felt like they had 2 okay options, especially with Underlord being able to connect. And the third one on this smoke bottom was, okay, we'll just, nobody's here, we'll start hitting this tier 2. They kind of took none of it during that time. And then ended up giving up their Underlord, lost his tier 1 top, didn't get that fight that would have, I think, been a pretty good defensive fight for them. And now they just lost Roshan straight off that move. Yeah, you traded this tier 2 bottom for all of that, but it does not seem favorable. And Aegis on the Beastmaster, in fact. They're going to give it to the new Beast to let him go in here. Does have that Ags completed, so he is pretty strong in the fight.
Huh. I guess so. Like, is the concept there that it's just like the first life, they're going to throw a bunch of damage and then they're just going to run out in the second life, and so he's just going to go to work with the drums?
Maybe. I mean, I think you're giving it to the Beast or the Earth Spirit here. You're definitely not giving it to Shiro because he still has to farm. He is not going to be the first in the fight anyway. So between those 2, maybe they felt like Mew was the more reliable value. But I think it would have been tempting on the Earth Spirit too. He'll find a quick little pick-off here. LGD starting to regain a little bit of map control. They got a bunch of wards out. They can rotate back to all these obs top. They see Monet pushing in deep. Gonna look for the power rune, but will not get it here. So,
do you
traded
judge-
the map.
How do you judge the overall matchup of Muerta versus Gyrocopter?
I mean, Muerta will
Dire's
slay
bottom
this
tower
hero in the
is
late
under
game.
attack.
But
Blade
the
Mail
mid-game
does not
great.
protect you against an amp damage from nothing to
Yeah.
say. He turned a lot of damage back around. Don't get me wrong, it's just a little bit too much for his HP pool. Just
Looking for a
unfortunate.
toss.
They're actually going to go for the Kisses with these heroes slowed down. They're going to turn this around with the Gyrocopter ultimate and Kisses. The long-range poke almost secures the kill.
I don't know about that
Disruption
disruption.
going to come back in,
Okay.
but he got a blink. The blink away from PYW. The Gleipnir does land onto the Beastmaster. With the one with the Aegis. They'll take that Aegis away. They try and kill him a second time.
They're going to commit.
Seems like nothing say wants to go for it, but a turnaround roar goes out from Mew, and now he's got the drums, a roaring, and X-Nova and nothing to say, both gonna fall in order to get that kill onto Mew. PYW gets run down on the side as well. A trade-off of 2 for 2 after the round of Aegis.
Man, imagine LGD have all their cores like alive at the same time hitting that fight together. It's a very different story. But it's displaced, and G2.iG able to get that Aegis out from under them, not without paying a little bit of a price here. Losing that snap is definitely going to hurt.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
But you're starting to stack up the auras here on JT, and that's the big signal here for G2.iG. You finish this pipe, it's done. You finish this Greaves, you're going to be really strong in that 5-man. It's going to be a dispel for the Magnetize, a pipe that reduces it on everybody else. It's going to negate a lot of the Earth Spirit damage, even the Beast damage coming out in these mid-game team fights. Just let your team power through it. Going to put a lot more pressure on PYW here to find these toss combinations, maybe isolate heroes, pull those auras out of the ball. Quick little ult, does find an Avalanche.
Yeah, the Avalanche stops the Kisses, which stops the damage required to finish up Mew. Monet tried to finish it off with a flat cannon and the rocket, but a disruption buys a bit of time. But Shiro's just in so deep, and there's no way out.
Just got melted.
Yeah. He just got rocket barrage down by Monet, and he rushed to Gleipnir, has no force tap or anything like that. So once he's in, there's no way out.
Man, Will said he got ice fogged a little bit in that tree gap
Radiant structure
with the Pavity. Did him no favor.
Oh, look at that toss!
Oh
That
my
was beautiful.
word.
That sets up a Magnetize that will burn out all of these heroes. Maybe even Monet. He's going to go for a TP away, but they have the roll to stop it as well. Echo and PYW, a 2-man team that just took down 5.
What just happened? Absolute disaster on a casual tier 2 push by G2.iG. LGD just catch him sleeping.
is under attack.
And big time turn this game around. What a gold swing from them. You're talking about these two guys getting the job done. That's a 5,000 gold swing, 6,000 gold swing when all things are said and done off a monster avalanche from PYW. And once that avalanche hit, you're just off to the races with the magnetized blade mail damage. These two melee bros getting the job done where the rest of the team fell apart. I mean, he's happy about that fight, but he was dead for it, so none of it was due to him there. Just cheering his team on like, oh, thanks for the carry, boys. We suddenly got ourselves a Dota game here. A lot of the advantage they had built up on this early game had just been evaporated.
6-2 and 6 for Echo, thanks to PYW and himself. The two of them, this tag team, are really the only thing that I feel like is keeping LGD in the game this first 20 minutes. And they may have just given Shiro enough time for him to start coming online, because he is closing in on the BKB. Now, the positioning won't matter nearly as much.
I mean, the BKBs are really strong for LGD here. You're looking at such a heavy magic damage lineup for G2.iG. If you can just BKB, stand your ground, start chain stunning people, and you have a lot of chase between the Tiny and the Earth Spirit to make sure you can use those BKBs effectively, that's going to be a tough timing to push through. You can go later with some of the Snapfire scale and the Gyro scale, right? You pick up some of these 15, 20 talents on these heroes, and suddenly the Shredder and the Flak do a lot more here. They can help you combat those BKBs, but that's a long way away. And you gave up a lot of momentum. In fact, it is LGD taking the lead here at the 22.5-minute mark. And the BKB is done for Echo if he gets out of here. And he barely will. Whew. In fact, he's laughing about it. He knew what was coming. Well, he will skirt out of there. Big win for LGD again.
An even game. 17-17, LGD just having the slightest net worth lead. BKBs are rolling in for both sides.
Next Roshan's going to determine a lot. Whoever wins the team fight before that, if it breaks out, they're just going to smoke. I mean, they have their BKBs. They have the Blink 4-staff on the Tiny. The initiations are definitely a lot easier for LGD right now. You have to play clumped a bit if you're G2iG, not give good openings, play around your Underlord with the Pit Firestorm auras, and drag that fight out. Because triple BKB is online for LGD, and they're looking to strike right now. I mean, I felt like this Tiny was the one hero you did not want to give in this Game 3 if you were G2iG, and you gave it to LGD here. You gave it to PYW, and he's feeling it right now.
Xnova, he's going to stop the immediate jump here from LGD, but Echo still gets the roll in. The magnetize on to 3, now 4. A full-on retreat from G2iG as they give up their Crystal Maiden.
They did use triple BKB and the Vorta ulti.
They did. They may have jumped the gun on this a little bit too much, and now Echo, his BKB is down. Caught. Nope. Disruption bails him out from that ultimate. A dead shot pushes back Monet enough space, but what a grab there from the pit. Can they get on top of this one? PYW trying to get all of these heroes off of his boys as they're retreating on out of here. They're so close to getting away, but it looks like maybe they're just going to get run down as Why You Smile knew. Any damage? So flat cannon shot and a bushwhack. They get him eventually. The missile bounced over to Echo. He'll be fine.
Will he?
Gleipnir landed onto him. He's got another roll in 2 seconds, so he's fine. Meanwhile, deep on the other side of the map, PYW is he waiting to see if is he gonna go for a pickoff here?
Might get a little career snipe or something.
Yeah,
cut a wave.
Maybe cut a wave.
He hit another monster avalanche, but the damage is already done. LGD, they pulled the trigger on those BKBs very early in that fight to try and get past the pit and get on those initial targets, but G2iG kited it pretty well. That's the type of fight that can work for them. I mean, it was a high ground hold with high ground vision. Very advantageous for them, as LGD have to run through all of it, and G2iG can just space it out, right? No one really got caught on the clump. There wasn't a clear opening. The Tiny got hit by damage on the initial ramp. He cannot blink in and get a toss back. That's kind of an ideal situation for G2iG there. Positioned pretty well.
Yeah, it's like a pretty simple thing, but it has a big impact. Xnova being on the front lines, hitting the Crystal Nova to stop the initiation. Kind of forces Echo just to full commit like he did.
And that'll give him the BKB on the Snapfire plus his level 15 talent. Every one of these talents for Snapfire is huge with the way this hero builds up right now. So that'll give him the 8 Shredder hits plus BKB, neutral item for some minus armor and some Gleipnir procs. I mean, these Shredders deal some decent damage. Ideally, you want to get like 2 or 3 of them off in a fight. That first one's not just going to insta-kill a hero or anything at this point in the game, but if you get the second or third one off, it's enough to win you the engagement. And the BKBs are online for G2iG now, which means they're thinking about just manning up for this Roshan. They want to take it away from LGD.
Won't be able to do it right away. Still another 45 seconds till that Roshan comes up, which is just enough time for LGD
rune
to get an amp damage rune into the bottle of Shiro.
Huge
and
rune.
Reset up for Roshan. This rune could just change the outcome of this Roshan fight, which could change the outcome of the game.
I mean, this is one of the best heroes for amp damage in the game.
Yeah.
Like, you're taking advantage of both elements of it. You're getting multi-shots out. The burst damage is insane, and this is a hero that is centered around burst damage and taking advantage of it in the fight. They're just gonna smoke up with it and jam it in.
They can just get the jump. PYW misses out of the avalanche. Makes things awkward, but if they can retreat cleanly, Demonic Cleanse keeping off the Rod of Atos. Yeah, it didn't cost them anything. They got kisses out of the Snapfire.
In fact, they got a neutral item for the Morte hero with that camp.
Oh my god.
That's a good one in the quiver. Did him some big favors here. Downside is they lost their smoke for that play, but G2iG committing the pit. This is a dangerous committal.
It really is. A dead shot looking for a bit of vision. Doesn't see much. A pit to stop PYW. Echo's going to roll into the Roshan pits.
Oh, this is awkward.
Doesn't find much and had to use his BKB to make sure he stays alive and gets out. So now his BKB has been expended and G2iG can go back to it.
You commit here if you're G2iG. Force LGD to jump you again. You have BKB advantage. You have another Pit Firestorm. You still have your auras up on the Underlord.
They're not going to do that. They're gonna smoke and try and get the initiation onto LGD instead of letting LGD try and take the first step.
I mean, you'd love to find the Tiny here. Shiro's just sitting here.
They activated the Roshan Roar. Shiro pops his BKB and his half damage. How much is he going to be able to get done with it? He kills a Crystal Maiden, but that's a buyback. A Gleipnir out on JT, and Shiro's at half HP. PYW's in some trouble. Of course, Snap trying to get him away. A cookie forward onto a Primal Roar. Up Gyrocopter will get bursted down by Shiro. They had damage. They didn't respect it. They saw it, and they still walked into it and let Shiro get his opportunity. But with multiple buybacks, G2.iG just planning on running over LGD, not letting Shiro escape. A kick out. They'll be able to finish him off, no problem. Turn back to the rest of the heroes as Echo rolls into all 4 of them here, surrounded by all these heroes, bushwhacked up and controlled easily. LGD damn near get wiped in all of this one. PYW, the lone survivor, who did die, he just bought back earlier.
Did cost G2iG 2 buybacks, and one of those on their carry in Monet. However, I'm sure they're happy to take that team fight win. And yeah, I mean, it's Shiro versus the world, man. Like, you have some damage coming out from these other heroes, but ideally you're looking for a tiny initiation, and it just wasn't there on either of those jumps. Yeah, sure, you found this avalanche on the second one, but it wasn't good enough to secure a position for LGD where you could use the BKB from the Morta for more than that Crystal Maiden.
Yeah.
And we could see the idea there from G2iG is just bait out those early committals from LGD, use the buybacks to win that dire side Roshan, guarantee the win, brute force it if you have to. And they do here.
Now they just got a big upgrade in control. Aghanim Scepter for JT's Underlord with level 20. So he's going to be coming in every single time.
Obnoxious.
With an extra pit off of his ultimate.
He's level 22. Man, I mean, these are nice talents when you have this Ags. You lock heroes in these multiple pits throughout this Firestorm. They're latching for longer. It's really annoying to play into, and he's not a target that LG, I think, ever want to focus.
No. Have you ever seen the Underlords where they don't use the pit globally, and they're just in the fight already, and they put it so they basically put 3 pits out in the field?
Yeah, there is a minimum cast range, so
yeah.
It isn't like, you know, you can't just jam all 3 on top of somebody,
but you can muck up the entire battlefield with just just one gigantic pit, mosh pit.
He gets Bloodstone later. We're talking about some mega pits coming out. Could really cause LGD some big problems here as they're
trying to get the grab.
They're broken,
Ranabetos onto Shiro. Don't want to be leaving him behind. He BKB, TP's out.
What else can you catch here if you're G2iG? Can you catch anything at all?
Seems nothing. Echo using the shard to try and help PYW escape a little bit further. It's an interesting note, having that shard on the Earth Spirit. A little bit of extra help repositioning the Muerta, perhaps. Still a bit of time left on this Aegis. 3 minutes, in fact, so a lot of time. We use it to bulldoze down a tier 2.
That cleave radius is so big.
Oh, yeah.
This is ridiculous. You almost wish you could buy like proc items on this hero or something like a Mage Slayer and cleave it on everybody, but
yeah,
maybe for the D patch. They're gonna push high ground on the backside of this Aegis.
Yeah, might as well force it.
Yeah, you still got 2 minutes. A lot of time to work with here, and Satanic done for Monet. That's letting him frontline. You do have to think about the tossback potential.
Yes.
So they're going to do it while he can flak out and cancel that tiny blink, but the second it's gone, you back up. Will prompt a smoke by LGD. They don't want to let G2iG really escape for free here. You may not have a choice. How far are you willing to commit in? I mean, you got to remember, there's still this Aegis on this 3,000 HP Gyro. Would not feel good to go in and take the fight head on into him, because you're going to have to expend all of your Morta's BKB and ultimate to get rid of the first life, and you're not going to have anything for the second. If you can get a toss back, that's a different story.
Yeah, how are you going to set this fight up? Are you going to go for the toss back first, and then do you kick back after that, or what do you do? Monet pops his BKB. So he gets out of range. The Primal Roar tries to stop him. It doesn't work. JT came in off of his gate. And Shiro's going to go for it. Shiro's going to try and get this kill onto JT, but he had a cheese and he had a pipe. So he was healthy enough to get away. Now the BKB is gone from Shiro. They're tracking him down. They need some help. Only a disruption. That's only going to buy him a pit and some time. And he's going to come back into a world of hurt from G2iG. Now the carry is dead. They go high ground again.
They're just cutting these fights so well. I think the Roar had to be there on the Gyro the second he went under that tower. But LGD not sure if they wanted to commit on him. But again, that's the problem with the Aegis there.
Have to play for a buyback. Another combo from PYW that sets up Echo to hit the Magnetize.
Is it enough?
Is it enough this late into the game with the Satanic on Monet and Aegis to boot? They're going to have to track him down.
Yo,
and
this man's insane.
Yeah, he goes in to commit for the Aegis, has to give up his life for this.
Oh,
What a
that
nice toss, though. It finishes off the Snapfire and gets some good damage onto JT. Now missing their
Need more.
Snapfire, G2.iG have to retreat, and they're just going to give up on a support here. X-Nova bops the freezing field, knowing his doom is nigh.
Is that good enough for a Shiro buyback?
No.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it is, but at least it's something here for LGD. You didn't give up a Rax. That's part of that equation that you're happy about.
Yeah.
But this will be the Daedalus done for Monet. He's up to his level 20 talent as well. So these Flak and Shredder talents are starting to come online now, and this is the scary part of this lineup, at least to me. If I'm in LGD shoes right now, I'm looking at these talents starting to come online, and the physical damage is just going to exponentially increase from here. Everybody's just going to be getting hit by these multi-shots, the firestorms, the flak cannons going out. It's so much AoE to go into, and that's part of the problem here for LGD. What do you have to mitigate that? When the Tiny goes in, when the Earth Spirit go in, and they're the targets getting hit by these multi-shots or these flak cannons, it's proccing onto everybody else.
Yeah.
It's just a world of pain. You don't have any Ghost Scepters, you don't have a Crimson Guard, you don't have a lot of armor to play with here.
I mean, it's pretty interesting that this idea that if you little Shredder before the flat cannon shots, then you put minus armor in a bunch of heroes as well.
It's a nice combination here.
Very interesting.
And it's nice because, yeah, there's not a lot to mitigate it.
Oh, no.
What is
Can
this
he
setup?
get here in time? A Primal Roar, a
Not a lot of
hard
damage.
hero to kill, but a Vessel makes it a lot easier. JT is going to try and go through the gate. They do have plenty of stuns thanks to just having Nurse Spirit. PYW has an avalanche over the top, and a good pickoff for LGD.
And you finding some sick positioning here. That's a big one. 80 seconds without the Underlord. Means G2iG are just going to have to farm up what they can right now. But Boca, he's back to his carry role, but I'd argue he's doing it on a hero that benefits a lot more from it than that Gyro.
Yeah, a little bit.
Still, pretty defensive itemization from him. BKB Lincoln's Mage Slayer here for the Hoodwink.
Trying to deal with the Primal Roar on Monet, right?
Yeah, I'm assuming he's going to look to try and throw this Lincoln's out on the core when the Beastmaster commits in the fight. But it does make him a very difficult target to catch. And of course, the Mage Slayer, some decent value here if you can land it on the Earth Spirit, even the Morta here. So Butterfly on the menu for Monet. Gonna make this carry matchup probably as good for him as it gets. And then you're looking at that next Aegis to use for a game ender here if you can get it on the side of G2iG. Level 20 talent now online for NTS. It's another big one. That multi-shot. Huge damage ramp for him.
Bloodstone for the Earth Spirit. So that will help him a lot when he's jumping into all of this. Feels like he can't really stick in the fight. There's just so much damage that's thrown back into him. A lot of time he has to BKB and kind of back away. But maybe the Bloodstone will give him enough heal because he's been hitting huge magnetizes. He's doing a decent amount of damage over time. Maybe the Bloodstone will allow him to stick in the fight longer.
Feels like you want a Shivas here too.
Yeah, that too.
But he's eyeing Refresher. You did have the Shivas picked up on the Beastmaster, so maybe you don't want to double it up either. This is still a pretty even game. Big items coming out for LGD right now. They got Shivas and Daedalus done. And that Bloodstone. So all three cores hitting a nice power spike. You're not going to have buybacks, so that's the downside. LGD committing to the next fight. They feel like they need to win it to contest this Roshan. They're just going to smoke up and look for it. So look for the tiny toss to isolate a hero into that roar, set the kill up for Shiro so he doesn't have to commit in super deep at the start. And G2iG are going to try and not give this tiny an opening and cancel his blink as fast as they can. Smoke gets broken on a ward. NTS just going to open up the fight.
It forces a reaction. Echo. He rolls in.
Decent
his
damage.
team playing behind him quite a bit. Now they go in. You looking
Didn't
for his
get the-
opportunity. Didn't get the roar.
Got Lincoln's blocked, I think.
Yeah. And Monet. Well, his BKB is running out. They're trying to draw out Shiro's ultimate. It's going to fade away soon, and maybe they can reconnect after that. PYW tosses him onto Monet, says, go get him, Shiro, and Shiro obliges with the big Daedalus single target damage. He blows up and finishes off the gyrocopter before Satanic can come into play, and they take that fight pretty easily, it seemed like.
How did that go so well? I mean, the damage from the Earth Spirit's out of control. The initial go, it didn't look that amazing, but the Magnetize procced on everybody there again, and then Echo, he got out, so you're not killing him. The Blade Mail almost killed NTS through the Shredder on himself there.
I would
Just
also
did the work
question
over
whether
time.
or not Gleipnir Kisses is like the way you want to start that fight.
I mean, if you get the BKB out of the Beast, I don't think it's too bad, but still it's G2.iG not finding their footing there as, yeah, I think that roar hit the Lincolns from Baboka heads up play, but the gyro couldn't commit in.
No, he'd already taken too much damage, had Vessel on him, BKB was gone. He was waiting out the Vessel and Shiro's ultimate to try and go in with the Satanic, but clutch realization by PYW to like get Shiro on top of Monet before Monet has that opportunity to use that Satanic.
This Tiny is just continuing to deliver in this series for LGD.
Yeah.
Really making these fights work, and he has his utility online again, looking towards that Wind Waker. And this Roshan.
So the spread damage of G2.iG finally falters, and it's the single target Shredder that the Muerta brings to the table that manages to succeed in this fight.
I mean, do they need the level 25 talent here?
Yeah, on Snapfire, you're saying?
It kind of feels like they do.
Dire are scanning.
Like, you have Daedalus on NTS, but he can't fully use it till that level 25 talent here. Just minimal contribution off the Shredder. Now, if you get that, then you just become an entirely different hero.
Yes.
But that's 4 levels off, and a lot can happen in that time here, especially when you're looking towards a Roshan spawn. It's going to happen here in the next minute.
Yeah, LGD, we're playing for a nighttime Roshan. It didn't spawn early, so now they've got to go to Radiant side.
And what is your initiation here if you're G2.iG? How do you start the fight on your terms in a way that sets your cores up to deal the damage? I don't think it exists.
I think it's mostly just somehow getting them to go on the Underlord.
I mean, you can walk in, but
Yeah.
the thing is they have displacement. So you don't want to walk in with somebody and just get tossed back or kicked back or whatever.
Yeah, that only plays to the single target focus that Muerta is so good at.
It's not obvious how to take this fight if you're G2.iG right now. Just not clear. I mean, it's not clear to me, and I'm seeing everything here. It definitely can't be that clear to them. Somehow you have to get value out of this BKB Satanic on the gyro. Like, you have to effectively use Monet's double life here to its maximum. Maybe bait a tiny jump.
Instead, to get the jump onto the Sapphire. Sapphire's trouble, blown up immediately. Now, Monet gets some flat cannon shots, but LGD are decently healthy. It's just PYW who has to back away. The Bloodstone healing, Echo back up. G2.iG, once again, are playing off of buybacks in order to win a Roshan fight. It worked for them last time, but is it going to work this time around? This time, they use the buyback on the Sapphire.
Monet wants to heal up off some creeps, but the downside of this is you're wasting your cooldown advantage right now. This roar is coming up 30 seconds right now.
Yeah, you kind of need to
magnetize in 45. You can't really afford to sit around here forever, and they're going to smoke up. You have to use this buyback from NTS to get something done here. It's insanely expensive for him.
And you said, how do you start this fight? Well, you just walk in. They're just going to do just that.
This is so dangerous.
Monet with the Lotus. Is it going to be good enough? They give him a cookie to try and hop out, reset. PYW, 4-staff disruption, just trying to buy a bit of time. But it looks like PYW is going to die, but he got off a combo, almost finishing up Monet, and Shiro delivers the final blow. Now the Primal Roar can be used onto the Sapphire instead, which is looking at a dieback right now. Shiro could just get the damage done, or maybe Echo can hunt him down. Rolling on through all these heroes, nothing to say. Throws his last bit of damage. A multi-shot does some good work, setting up JT with his clean to finish off some. And now Monet coming in from behind with the grab onto Shiro, no longer having his ultimate. No second ultimate for Shiro means it's going to be a hard way to be able to take this, but they're going to go for it with the TB coming in. Another beautiful combination after combination. PYW and Echo do not stop. They keep on putting them together and using their magic damage to absolutely cream G2.iG.
Did you even go Roshi, or do you try to end the game? Full buybacks committed by both teams here.
Radiant's top barracks
In fact, I think it was every core in the game outside of this Underlord, but I don't know if he can hold the base 4 there for LGD. So technically G2.iG, they win that fight, but it does not feel like it.
No, not with whatever LGD is going to get done in this window of time where they have over a minute to take as many objectives as they want.
You have to remember, though, they're trading their Roshan opportunity for this push.
Yes.
So if this gets stalled, if this goes wrong, you don't end the game here, or you can't just recover and do Roshan. Could potentially give up a lot, but 70 seconds on that gyro.
Are they going to go tier 3 to tier 4s? They are. They are going to try and end it. 30 seconds left on the Sapphire, 60 on the gyrocopter. They are guaranteed that there is going to be a fight in their advantage without the gyrocopter at least.
This is getting stalled a bit. The wave got cut by the Underlord.
The wave!
Did not protect it here. This push, it's fizzling.
I think you have to go back and do Roshan now. To make sure that this isn't just an absolute disaster, I think you gotta just take Roshan.
Now, that was the 5th buyback. Something to keep in mind. Or the 4th buyback, I should say. The Maiden doesn't have one, but that was the last core on that Underlord to cut that wave. So that was an expensive wave cut. Necessary, but more economic damage done to G2.iG as LGD will claim everything here. And Aegis for Shiro, level 25, also done for him off that XP. That is a huge talent for the Morta here. And the extra 20% Gunslinger. He will finally switch out that quiver. But a refresher shard for New.
Yeah.
Big deal as well.
Absolutely. When he's playing up against the Lincolns, now that Primal Roar gets blocked, it's just so hard for Monet to actually use. You said you kind of need to use these kind of 2 lives. How do you do that against potentially 2 Primal Roars? I feel like you just can't guarantee.
I was about to say, like, the refresher shard for the Morta is way more valuable here.
Yeah,
right?
I think so too. But
Double ult, double BKB is so good on this hero. Especially when you have Aegis, you die the first time, you use everything, you slot that in, you have a second round. It's got to be better than double Primal Roar. It'll give it to him. I mean, Yu is building his own refresher here anyway, and he's going to buy it out because you don't have buyback, so... Should have it. You should have that double Primal Roar up as well. This is a crazy power spike here for LGD. Refresher for the Earth Spirit on top of everything here. They're just going to have 6 cores.
They are. And nothing to say. I feel like this game is now entirely hinged upon whether or not they can hold this next fight and he gets 25 off of it. They need that kind of game changer. That talent can do so much for you, but he's still 2 levels away.
You have to kite these fights out if you're G2.iG. You have to play around the pits. The pits were the one thing working for them in that fight. You do have the level 25 talent for the Underlord, so that pit duration is increased. These things are really difficult to fight through once the BKBs are gone. Unfortunately, triple refresher means you have 6 BKBs here.
Bounces it back onto New's Beastmaster, but it doesn't matter, man. Shiro, he's shredding heroes. They're gone. They're done. Shiro's too damn big, and the GG is already called. G2.iG is out, and LGD will move on.
The start of this day, it looked grim for this squad. I mean, they were on the brink of elimination multiple times here, but somehow in the twilight hour able to pull it back and send their